We serve the everyday user who wants to just capture those special moments on camera, all the way through to the scientific discoveries. Western Digital designs, manufactures, and sells data storage solutions, bringing 3 Fortune 500 size companies together. We needed a next generation solution. We did an inventory and there were 2,000 plus applications across these 3 companies. We wanted a streamlined process. We wanted something end-to-end from the point you capture the data to the point you want to report out the data. Being able to leverage out of the box was another key factor for us. Once we chose Oracle ERP Cloud, then the Oracle suite made sense as well. Initially, when we developed our solution, it was an 8.5-hour refresh time for our data warehouse. And we were able to get that refresh time down to 20 minutes. So we have operational reporting that's real time, and then we have analytical reporting, which is available within 20 minutes, which is unheard of. No one can refresh their company data warehouse for a company this size in 20 minutes, and we can do it. We were able to cut down from 15,000 plus cost centers down to around 3,000 cost centers. So if we can use machine learning and AI to be able to take all that work out for people, then they can actually be financial analysts who do financial forecasts instead of data consolidators. We love innovation, we love new technology, we love the cloud, and it just felt natural for us to move forward with Oracle.
At Protiviti, we ensure your business is future-ready. As we collaborate to solve problems with innovation at its heart. Your trusted advisors for business and technology consulting, internal audit, data, and digital transformation. We are global and truly independent, delivering confidence in a dynamic world. That's Protiviti.
In order to be what we are, we have to come out of what we are not. Stillness and quietness. To see the beauty of what was in front of me.
At KPMG, we are driven by our purpose and focus on quality to inspire confidence, empower change, and make positive contributions to our clients, the economy, our staff, and society. We are a member of the global KPMG network, which spans 146 countries and employs over 226,000 professionals. This allows more than 350 staff to leverage international experience and industry-leading practices to deliver tailored services to our Qatar clients. We made a lasting impact in Qatar with our audit, advisory, and tax services. Let us do the same for you.
MS Partner. Audit and Assurance Services. Corporate and International Tax Services. Financial Advisory Services. Accounting Advisory Services. IT and Risk Management Services. Get in touch with us, MS Partner.
As we emerge from the impact of the pandemic and we enter a new phase of transformation, organizations need to change faster and more thoroughly than ever before in a region facing profound challenges and tremendous opportunities.
PwC as a community of solvers is uniquely positioned to bring the right combination of people, capabilities, and technology.
That's what we're calling the New Equation, our new network-wide strategy.
The new equation focuses on two interconnected needs that clients face now. The first is to build trust, which has never been more important or more difficult. The second is to deliver sustained outcomes in a fast-moving environment where the risk of disruption is more intense than ever before.
It all adds up to the New Equation.
It all adds up to the new equation.
It all adds up to the new equation.
Good morning, QDC.
Qatar Design Consortium. 4 decades of presence in Qatar. ISO certified consultancy firm in practice since March 1977. Current staff strength in Doha office is 500 plus professionals tied up with specialists all over the world. Successfully executed more than 3,000 projects in Qatar. Architecture, design and engineering disciplines, civil, structure, electrical, low current systems, HVAC, plumbing and drainage, sustainability, GSAS, building information, modelling and lead. Project management, construction supervision and management consultancy, environmental, energy and utility. Spacious and well equipped office space of approximately 45,000 square feet in downtown Doha. Qatar Design Consortium. Quality, diligence, commitment. Since 1977.
QFM all-purpose flour, your perfect baking ingredient. QFM brings out the best.
Where is the time to make roti? Q-Bake Rotis. Make life easy.
Add vitamin D to your cooking with the goodness of Yara. Heart says, stay active, eat healthy, cook with Adira, listen to your heart.
360TF is an online, robust marketplace connecting all importers, exporters, and banks on a common platform. Currently, we are having a special offer for you, where we are giving you a subscription worth $1,100 for free. 360TF is a part of the Nimai Group, and collectively we have a banking relationship with 250 plus banks and have processed transactions worth $1.9 billion. In the traditional process of getting trade finance, you can approach a limited set of banks, and after 3 to 4 weeks of labor-intensive work, there is still no guarantee that you will get a satisfying quote. 360TF enables global trade finance. It brings the world closer by connecting importers and exporters with partner banks to fulfill their LC financing requirements. By utilizing the digitized platform of 360TF, you can reach banks across the world for the best pricing. You will also have better reach, opportunities, and connections. You will gain advanced analytics through our secure and user-friendly web-based platform. Using our platform, banks can grow into untapped geographies and to new bank clients for LC-backed financing. The faster turnaround time also means that the process is more efficient and effective. At 360TF, all you have to do as a customer is come on the platform and upload your LC, and quotes will start coming to you on a real-time basis. This is possible because of our matchmaking engine, which sends a notification to all banks stating that so-and-so customer has placed an LC of this value and in this product. The banks then place their quotes, and these are then ranked and shown to you. We believe that together we can move towards a digitized world with cheaper rates of financing. So why wait? Join us in the rising tide of digitization and surf with us on the top. You can just log into our platform and start saving. We will be more than happy to give you a detailed demo about the platform. You can contact any of us and we will be sure to attend to all your queries. Many thanks.
And very good afternoon. I, C.A. Devkinandan Tibrewal, am pleased to welcome you all to the second day of International Conference organized by Doha chapter of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India on the theme Resilience and Reinvention. Firstly, I would like to thank all the members for their participation in yesterday's session, as without your support, this conference would not have been so successful. I hope every one of you would have enjoyed yesterday's power-packed session, right from CA MP Vijay Kumar sir, who enlightened us on the role of CFO as Chief Future Officer. The word of wisdom from CA Neha Jambusaria sir, President of ICAI. Words of encouragement from Mr. Kuljit Singh Arora, Second Secretary, Information, Culture and Education, Embassy of India. Panel discussion moderated by CA Gopal Balasubramaniam with an elite group of panelists, CA Kamlesh Vikamse, CA Atul Kumar Gupta, and CA Wali. And finally, inspirational story of Dr. Deepa Malik and a heart-touching quote mentioned by her in Hindi. ईश्वर पे अगर भरोसा है तो किस्मत में जो लिखा है वो मिल जाएगा, लेकिन अगर खुद पे भरोसा है तो ईश्वर वो लिखेगा जो तुम चाहोगे. Dear DCICI members, members from the overseas chapters, sponsors and dignitaries, I am sure that today's session will be as productive as yesterday's session, and there will be a lot of takeaways for all of us during these 2 days of virtual conference. Today also we are going to have an action-packed day as well. as we will be witnessing speeches from CA Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, Sridhar Vembu, Parag Shah, and Rahul Bosch. On behalf of DCICI, I would like to thank all the VIP sponsors, silver sponsors, and event sponsors for their unconditional support during this pandemic, and without which we would not have been able to such a mega event. Today, we are going to have another raffle draw during our sessions. Now, it's time to move on to our business sessions. Let's invite first speaker of the day, CA Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani. CA Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani is a co-founder and managing director of Hiranandani Group of Companies. He is known as builder extraordinaire and as the man responsible for changing the skyline of Mumbai with the delivery of landmark project Hiranandani Gardens, Powai. Under his astute leadership, the group has diversified into education, healthcare, hospitality, infrastructure, entertainment, and organized retail. With his profound knowledge, sharp business acumen, and ambitious attitude, he has been conferred with the leadership roles across various prominent business organizations. Currently, he spearheads as the Vice Chairman of National Real Estate Development Council under the aegis of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Government of India. He is also the immediate past President of ASSOCHAM. Some of his past achievements include drafting of the state policy for slum rehabilitation to improve well-being of over 6 million slum inhabitants. He is listed by Forbes as India's top rich real estate developer. The philanthropist profile unveils his social commitment as a responsible citizen. With the trustee of 14 colleges, 6 schools, 2 hospitals, and 3 temples. Sincerity and commitment with consistent effort is the recipe to achieve success and scale greater heights, is his magic mantra. Dear members, please help me welcome with virtual round of applause CA Dr. Neeraj Hiranandani sir. Hiranandani sir, virtual screen is all yours. Over to you, sir.
A very good afternoon to each and every one of you in Doha and any other place that you are here today. I'm in Mumbai, and it's a pleasure to be with the members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, the Doha chapter. Thank you very much and giving me the privilege to address your members today. It's a proud privilege as a fellow chartered accountant to be here to speak to you and share my thoughts and experiences which are there today. It's been a fun life, a rick-rolling thing life, which has changed over a period of time, and I've been there. I've been a reluctant chartered accountant, reluctant in the sense of I never really wanted to study chartered accountancy. And I must relate to you a short story about that. My father was a doctor, a very eminent ENT specialist. And all the people in my family were professionals, doctors. And there was nobody in the business world whatsoever. However, seeing my father work very hard, and my elder brother, who was also a doctor, work very hard, I took a decision that, hard work is not the part of my life. And in reality, I cannot work as hard as they have to come up and be doctors and then continue to work very hard. So I took up an easy way, which was to do commerce, which was considered the easiest portfolio at that point of time. And I did my BCom. And during my internship years, I used to do internship. I used to go to factories, go into business places, meet businessmen. Some of them were patients of my father. And I picked up a lot of ideas of what business could be. And that enamored me completely. When I finished my chartered accountancy, my father took me to a very famous lawyer by the name of Mr. Nani Palkhiwala. Very, very famous. He was also a director of Tata Sons. And I went to Bombay House, the center of Tata Empire. And I was taken there after my chartered BCom examinations and both to introduce me to Mr. Palkhiwala. And I was very happy to meet him because he was director of Tata's and was working from Bombay House. But when I went there, I think the two had connived the meeting. And Mr. Palkhiwala asked me, oh, what have you studied? So I said, BCom. He said, how did you do in your examinations? So I said, I stood second in the University of Mumbai. So he said, oh, wow, then you must become a chartered accountant. And I always looked up to Mr. Nani Palkhiwala. I said, no, sir, I would like to go into the business world. And since you're in Tata's, I'd like you to guide me. He said, no, you must become a chartered accountant. And that's the kind of thing with your kind of marks and results. Even if you want to do business later on, you must become a CA. And I hold it to my father and to Mr. Nani Palkhiwala that I got into the chartered accountancy course. I taught in the Institute of Chartered Accountants for 2 years after that. And after my CA, I got into the world of business in a very small way. And then, of course, there was no looking back into it. So that's my first introduction to become a chartered accountant. Was actually a reluctant one. But nevertheless, I think it has held me in great stead over a period of years in the world of business and business. Being a first generation business person, I found that knowing chartered accountancy and having the ability to be able to introspect into numbers and to be able to look at financial figures and others was a great asset. But many times it really pulled me back because I would be very conservative by nature, by mind, by the auditing ideas that came unto me. And for an entrepreneur, many times one has to leap into the dark. So there was a change that required me to do, which is really to look forward to something different in terms of being an entrepreneur rather than to be on the conservative side, which a chartered accountant is expected in his professional career. So that's a major change. But all the facts and studies that I did really did help me in all these years and career for me to really pick up numbers and figures and ideas and thoughts, which actually crystallized a large number of things. The second thing which I want to share with you, my friends, is the fact that the Institute of Chartered Accountants and the work it does in terms of continuing education is something which is not available in other careers. So for instance, the Medical Council of India or the Indian Medical Association does not carry out as much rigorous teaching and learning as the Institute of Chartered Accountants does. And I think we are all greatly benefited by that because these institution learning and continuous learning that we have is something which holds us in good stead. I'm now 71 years old, but being affiliated to the Institute of Chartered Accountants and being able to share some of the learning teachings at times that I do, it's really been an advantage to chartered accountants. So the professional qualification and the connection with the Institute has been very, very beneficial. And I think that stands out differently as compared to medicine, or it compares to engineering, or it compares to architecture, or it compares to any other professional qualification. I think the Institute of Chartered Accountants is doing a much greater and more wonderful job. So I think that is something which I consider to be a great advantage to young and old chartered accountants who are really being able to do things. The third thing which I want to share with you today, is the changing world that is taking place. I just now am in Mumbai, a trustee of the Hyderabad Sindh Collegiate Board, which consists of 14 colleges, 6 schools, and I have 2 other schools of under Hirandandani Foundation. All this teaching and learning comprises of the fact that things end at the graduation, post-graduation, and sometimes at the PhD level. What I've found really is that whatever we learn in our schools, colleges, and education at the point of time of graduation and others actually holds us to good stead for the next 5, 10, 15 years. After that, most of the things that we have learned have actually become obsolete, too old to be relevant, or changed so materially that what we learned in our profession is a microscope of what we really need to do to continue our professional work. All this is extremely important in terms of the teaching learning that I talked about. But it is equally imperative to understand that the world of business, the world of commerce, and the world of enterprise is changing equally fast. And I can give you a couple of examples of what I'm trying to communicate to you. The first example that I can give you is the company called Reliance. Reliance, to me, 35 years ago, was a company which was principally doing textiles. It was only Dimmer. So Reliance had on its balance sheet 37 years ago, the component of textiles was almost 60 to 65% of its balance sheet. Make a guess as to what the composition of textiles is in the Reliance balance sheet today. Less than 0.01%. So the growth of enterprise and industry has made such a paradigm change that even for entrepreneurs who establish great enterprise have to move into new ideas, new thoughts, and new directions which take place. The IT revolution, of course, has given us a clear-cut indication of the change which is manifested, which is a paradigm which just completely gives us a different world completely. But it's not only about Reliance, it's not about other industries, but it's all about the changing world that is so rapid and quick that we, as chartered accountants, must learn to imbibe this change into the character of the advice that we give, of the ideas that come up in terms of financial and other feasibility and other thoughts and ideas to be done. The change is taking place in all industries, even in essential industries. Take the case of the real estate business that we talk about. In the last couple of years, the entire gamut of real estate has changed completely. The methodologies of construction have changed. The kind of labor-intensive jobs that we used to do is now greatly mechanized. A lot of shuttering, a lot of cranes, all the other things have changed in the real estate industry. The methodology of financing, funding the business of real estate has completely changed. New opportunities have come into the real estate trade, which indicates, for instance, on the commercial side, the introduction of REITs, the real estate investment trusts, which have brought about a complete change in terms of the investment opportunities in the commercial real estate. On the residential real estate also, a lot of changes taken place, both in the luxury segment and in the affordable segment. Take the example of the affordable segment. The Prime Minister's Grant Awas Yojana as a project today provides 1 crore houses. 11 million houses have been constructed in the last 5 years or under construction and should get complete by the year 2023. the amount of funding which has gone into this simply by interest subsidies of 3% for 15 years, which means that a person can get for an affordable house, which has a cap of 45 lakhs at the present time, can get 90% loan at a subsidized rate, with 6.5% being the interest rate, a 3% subsidy, the interest rate net comes to 3.5%. And if it is only 3.5% with inflation running at 5%, in fact, the banks and government are giving you money, which is subsidized in real terms, to produce 1.1 crore houses. It's amazing. And this project is going to be complete. So we can see the difference. And the government has, of course, already distributed 55,000 crores of rupees in advance to the financial institution for funding this kind of thing. So every field of activity, whether it is in the manufacturing side, commercial side, trading side, and others, have completely changed over a period of years. What I want to manifest to the chartered accountants is that we have to learn very quickly of the changes that are taking place in the environment, and also to be able to advise correctly the persons, our clients, and when we are working with in companies in professional capacity, to be updated to the new changes that are taking place and are likely to take place in the next couple of years. So these are the kind of changes which are taking place every day. I keep on repeating to people that they have to be a learner in terms of new ideas, no matter how old you are. And here I want to share with you the story of my father, Padma Bhushan Dr. L. Chiranandani, Dhanvantri Award winner, one of the most reputed ENT surgeons in India at his time. He died 8 years ago at the age of 96. And I want to share with you, at the age of 84, one early morning, my father and I met for a cup of tea, and my dad informed me that I am going to go to Germany to learn a new operation. I said, Dad, are you okay? At 84, you want to go and learn a new operation? He said, yes, I do. And I said, where? Germany. So he said, I said, to whom? Who's going to teach you? He said, Dr. Plester in Germany. He said, oh, I remember that name. Wasn't he the same doctor who came to learn an operation from you 6-7 years ago? He said, yes, he's the same doctor. But now he has created a new operation and I want to go and learn from him. So at age 84, Dr. L. Chiranandani, my father, went to Germany to learn a new operation. My father got Parkinson at the age of 86, so he could not really do many operations after he came back and learned this operation. So that was sad. But I just want to share with you that unless you are not a learner all the time, it's no use. Whether you're in service, whether you're in business, whether you're in a professional capacity, the ability to imbibe new learnings is something which really we need to do. The other thing I want to share with you, my friends, is the fact that we have to work on constant improvement. Many times people come to me in my real estate business and they say, the building that I have made are very good. And I'm very happy to hear it. Anybody would be. But you know, after 5-7 years, they come back to me and they say, you know, the building you made is very good. But you know, this new building which you have made is so much better. And I said, yes, of course, it's a new building. He said, no, it's not about that. You have added so many new ingredients into this building, which you did not do in the building I bought from you 5 years ago. But I said, your old building is also appreciated in terms of price. He says, yes, that I'm very happy about. But why didn't you make at that time a building as good as the one you have made today? The answer is very simple. That I promised myself that every time I make a new building, which is my parent business, I'm going to make some improvement on it every single day. So my mandate to my engineering team, my design team, my people in my company is, what is it that we can add on in order to give better service to my customers, or better quality of goods that we can give, or the improvement that we can do in the design of my new buildings, or whatever it is. Similarly, as a professional, we have to constantly innovate to say, what is the better service that I can give in order to go to my customers, whether we are paid for it adequately or not. We must continue to give and imbibe better and better service over a period of time. It has always helped me in good stead. So I think a part of the ideas that I wanted to share with you is that once you get habituated to improve yourself every day in terms of your personal self, in terms of your professional life, or even in your personal life, can you learn to love better tomorrow or today than you did yesterday? And every aspect of life, if I can better myself over a period of time, the only thing I can say is that it takes very little effort if you want to make a little improvement all the time. But that little improvement compounded creates a completely different image of the entire activity that you do, that you continue to do it. So let me share another example from you. I had COVID in January. So I was admitted to my own hospital, the Dr. L. Chiranandani Hospital in Powai. And I was there almost for 2 weeks. In the time that I spent over there, I reviewed all the departments of my hospital. And I suddenly realized, I got information and data from my CEO and my medical director and others, that we don't do as many transplants in Mumbai, not only my hospital, but in Mumbai, as we do in Hyderabad and Chennai. I was pretty shocked, because I always would think that Mumbai had the leadership as far as medical is concerned. So why can't we do that? So now I have mandated to my hospital, and we are working towards it, that we also will do transplants as far as heart, lung, liver, and kidney. Once upon a time, we used to do kidney transplant, but we had a problem, so we have stopped it. Now we promised ourselves that we will take up new activity to do that. So though my hospital had been ranked only last week as one of the 10 best hospitals in India, that is without the transplants, I'm sure with the transplant activity starting maybe in the next 3-6 months, and so hopefully at least 3 out of 4 of these activities we do, we will be able to get even a better ranking for my hospital next year. If and when we start all these activities, then we got in this week from I think the Times of India ranking for hospitals in India. So all these things are things that I wanted to share with you, and really take up the activity which really I feel are going to do. Lots to say about the Institute of Chartered Accountants, of the work that it is doing. And I'm glad that various chapters like yours are doing a lot of activity. I have had a great life in terms of being a chartered accountant, great life in doing professional teaching. I love my teaching. I love speaking to students, and I continue to do that till this date. We are now a diversified company. We are into data centers. We built Asia's largest tier 4 data center. We are now into gas. So we have the first floating LNG terminal in India, which is at Jaigarh. And we have a platform which does industrial and warehousing, which is a 50-50 joint venture with Blackstone. So these are the new diversified activities. In the case of the diversity activities, it's led by my son Darshan, who's based now in Dubai, but he operates in India too. And in all these activities are in India. So we are now become from real estate and different aspect of township development, diversified into many activities that we are continuing to do. And hopefully we'll continue to do diversified and new activities over a period of time. But I'm so happy here today and open to, I've always lots to say to fellow chartered accountants, but I would prefer that we could have a few questions so that they could be pointed and answer what thoughts you have in your mind rather than I continuing to talk in this manner. So thank you very much for inviting me, but I'm open for question answers if any.
For your enlightening and engaging session. And I'm sure each one of us would have enjoyed this session. Sir, you have shared your stories with Palkiwala as to how you become a chartered accountant. I was reading on the other day one book written by Mr. Shiv Khera, and the heading of the book was "You Can Win," and in which he mentioned, sir, winners don't do different things and they do things differently, which I can very well correlate with your today's speech, sir. So with your due permission, we have some couple of questions, sir, from the members. If you allow, we can ask some questions.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So first question, sir, from the member. Smart city, a buzzword in all over the India, but somehow we are failing to bring that ambience to the international level. What are the reasons and solutions for it, sir?
It's a very good question and a very important one also. Unfortunately, the polity of India have not invested into infrastructure and did not believe that infrastructure actually wins votes. Infrastructure does win votes, but over a longer period of time. And our polity is mostly fixated into short-term politics and how we can win the next election at the time. Large infrastructure projects take long periods of time, whether they are there. However, fortunately for us, the new government, the government of India, has moved into infrastructure projects in a very big way. For instance, now from Mr. Gadkari, who looks after roads, is now moved from 4 kilometers of national highway per day to 37 kilometers of national highway per day in India. I mean, you know, it's the fastest growing road network in the world, even ahead of China. The other aspect of it is the investments which are taking place in the Prime Minister's project in terms of $100 trillion economy investments that he wants to do over a period of time and wants to create a $5 trillion annual economy by the year 2030. And the best part is, the news is, which Niti Aayog told, which is heartening to me, is that from 7% GDP of that share coming from real estate, 20% of the share of the $5 trillion economy will be real estate, which means $1 trillion, which will be a 25-fold increase in the next 9 years. I mean, even I'm amazed with the figure. I hope they are right, because that will make my business even better. But nevertheless, in smart city. Now, coming to the micro word of what you said, this is the umbrella part of the answer. The micro part of the answer is that this can be divided into two parts. One, where some investments have started into metros and other things of cities. But unfortunately, state governments and urban local bodies are bankrupt in India. The financial position is very bad and they need to really do it. I was talking to a very important municipal commissioner of Thane, and he was telling me that 70% of his income goes in paying salaries and essential items of work which are there. So only 30% of it can be going into development activity. Now, with a small budget of Thane Corporation, it's just impossible for it to do. So what is needed actually is to see that more investment comes into infrastructure projects
And this had now been started in many sorts of ways. So if you look at the Mumbai region of infrastructure, we are adding in the next 5 years 300 kilometers of metro. We are adding a cross-harbour bridge connecting the mainland to Mumbai city. We are adding a new airport at Panvel. We are doing a Ro-Ro connectivity to Alibag. We are creating a West Coast Island road, which is on the western side of Mumbai. We are doing a bullet train to Ahmedabad, and we are doing a national highway to Nagpur, which will be completed in 2 years, and another connectivity to Delhi, which will reduce travel time to Delhi by road from 12 hours to 6 hours. So, So all this is going to take place, or is it 24? Yeah, I don't know exactly, but we reduce the time by 50%. So in the next 10 years, or 5 years or 10 years, there is an improvement in terms of the concept of infrastructure, smart city, development of metros and others, fiber laying, connectivity to all villages, drinking water to villages. So a lot of smart city and smart villages are likely to come up in the next couple of years. And we are also working on the national education policy as applicable to states. I'm on one of the committees with Mr. Dr. Mashalkar being the chairperson. And we are trying to see how we can innovate to really create a paradigm in education in India in the next couple of years. So yes, we are working on smart cities and the country and infrastructure in a very big way, but execution is still a challenge in India. I'm just hoping that the execution side, because money is available, international money is available at very low cost. So a financially prudent project will certainly get funding and financing. There's no dearth of money available worldwide. So we are quite savvy about this, but the execution has been a challenge in India. I'm just hoping that like Mr. Gadkari, other departments, other things, local governments, state governments will also be able to meet his targets and also be able to do the same.
Thank you, sir. And we also salute, sir, your contribution to the infrastructure development, which we are seeing the massive growth is happening all across India under the leadership of our Union Minister, Nitin Gadkari, sir. Thank you, sir. So now we have another question from one of our members, sir. We know that Hiranandani itself is a brand. How CA can build her own personal brand?
I think that's very simple. It's easier for a professional to create a brand than for a company to create a brand. What is the brand? Brand is about trust. It's about commitment. It's about integrity. I thought that is the basic principle of a chartered accountant. So I don't see any problem in these aspects of it. For a corporate entity to do it on a continuing basis with every product and all may be more difficult. But chartered accountant will always be looked upon if he is able to imbibe these qualities which are there. So I don't see any problem. But more than everything else, you have to do service. I think many countries in the world have services in their blood of service. In the Indian context, we also have it, but we don't have it many times. So what we really need to say is that you must serve more than what you receive. So you have to give little more than what you receive. So people always told me, Niranjan, why do you give so many more things than what actually you have said? So when we commit to a project or a township, we always add so many things which we have not committed to the customers or those people. And they're quite stunned when they have something which is much more. So we keep on adding, and we do it. But this has paid us because today the advantage has been that 30% of my new businesses are those connected with my existing clients. 30% of my enlarged business comes from sourcing either from my existing clients or by references from them. So this is very big, and this is not only for residential, also for commercial. So you can imagine, how much we have benefited by being a service company. To many people, Hiranandani is a product company. It's not. It's a service company. So service has become very important in terms of it. So a chartered accountant too, if he can serve more than what he gets or give a delight to the customer by saying that, look, you have asked me for this and this, but here is something in addition to that that I can give. People get delighted to hear something like that from you. And if you continue to do it, you will always be a brand which will be recognized. And many times we share ideas, thoughts, and everything with our clients and customers. I think that gives a big satisfaction to them. You know, and I've known people to say, you know, even on family matters, they will say, you know, I'm not going to my lawyer. I'll rather go to my chartered accountant. I trust him much more, and stuff like that. And I feel very happy to hear such stories because he has total faith and trust to his chartered accountant who has advised him what to do. And even in family matters where probably may not be getting any income from the discussion that is taking place, maybe even an informal discussion. But the fact that the trust and faith is given to him itself creates a brand which is important. On the other side, of course, there are now professional companies, chartered accountants, which are doing new and innovative businesses, mergers, acquisitions, corporate other things. Those are about new lines of businesses which are there. A lot of international chartered accountants are into that field and they're doing great. They have an advantage because of the connectivity, but we also have an advantage because we have the flexibility of working which those companies don't have. So if we can really measure ourselves up and say that, look, this is a niche which the international consultants and chartered accountants are not able to give, and we can give this more, and there are plenty of areas that is not happening with them. And I think there is an opportunity, but we are not encashing that. So I think there is a possibility of those ideas and thoughts coming into a chartered accountant to create a bigger brand, a bigger future, but trust, commitment, and service. I think three things, platform on which a chartered accountant could be a brand, no matter how small or big he is, he's still a brand.
Correct, sir. You rightly said that is what we say that CM is committed achiever. So coming to our next question, sir, one of our member named Mr. Karan, he's asking, dear sir, many times government policy is excellent on papers, but their execution is very weak. What are the things which should be considered for execution of any plan, whether government or corporate?
First is technology. Technology is changing in various lines and opportunities are available where we used to do, for example, we used to mix concrete on sites many years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. We used to do concrete mix on sites and we did a very good job. But not everybody did a very good job. So we used to get poor concrete and good, we did good concrete all the time, but many developers did bad concrete. Then we got ready-mix concrete available. And there we got standardized concrete, which is available off the factory shelf and made the change. So whatever it is, I think what we really need to do is to see how can we upgrade this idea either with new technologies that are available to us in order to do it, new learnings that we are going to do. So it's a mix of what we really need to do in terms of it. But paradigms are changing rapidly, but we are able to get the new learnings much faster because the learning can be much easier. A lot of it is available for us to learn and imbibe to do it. Internet and connectivity has been a good, easy platform by which we can learn. So I think all in all, if you really want to go into the next level of activity, improvement and other things, today is the easiest time that it is possible for us to learn and do. So, for instance, I benchmark myself in order that every 6 months I must learn something new all the time. And during this lockdown, I learned how to do the Zumba, and I also learned how to do the Jive. So I not only learned something in terms of my education, but also kept my wife happy, though she was locked in the house. So after 45 years of marriage, I got brownie points from her also. So we all have to, do new things and new stuff like that. And I think you can make a great and happy life, but more than anything else, it's something which I think human being is made for. If you don't learn, don't create new ideas and thoughts of it, you will stagnate, And I die before you die, So it's always good fun to keep on doing new things and all. I'm going to Dubai next week to meet my grandchildren. One of my targets was to do skydiving. Unfortunately, I've got a injury on my leg, so I won't be able to do. Otherwise, I targeted to do skydiving for the first time in my life. So, it would have been a nice, exciting thing, but I'll have to postpone it for New Year when I plan to go again, and hopefully my injury, my leg injury, would be all right. I have a broken leg at the moment, and I'm using this thing, the stick to walk around and all. But it's fine, and I'm only going to miss that I won't be able to skydive, but I'll do everything else.
Great, sir. Very nice to hear all these inspirational stories from you, sir. Now, moving to our next question, one of our members is asking, sir, you are a CA, but how you manage construction business?
Yeah. The same way that anybody has to learn any new thing which you have to do, requires a lot of effort at the initial stages. But what you really need to do is to get some basic training, or you have to recruit people to work under you who are already trained and manage things well. So you recruit them and manage them, and you look at that and take up construction ideas, get a good architect, get a good construction engineer, get a good contractor, pick up a right project and definitely do it. And over a period of years, you yourself introspect, verify, check, learn, and then you yourself are able to give new ideas. For instance, in the construction side, over a period of now 35, 40 years, I must have given at least 20,000 ideas. And we must have executed at least 5,000 new ideas out of that. For instance, in Powai project, we have sold maybe 6,000 apartments or maybe 7,000 apartments. I guarantee you, in the last 40 years, not a single building leaks. Not a single building leaks. Now, how many people can guarantee that in the last, and for Powai it's last 30 years. So last 30 years, whatever buildings we have made, not a single building leaks. None of the walls or the terraces will leak. Unless you have damaged them, then of course it will leak. But they won't leak otherwise. So we have imbibed technology now. This technology was available, but nobody wanted to use that technology. Yes, there was a cost to it. So whenever you do some work, if you have an objective, if you have a purpose, you have a thought process, you can achieve all these things required to do that. And that doesn't talk about construction alone. We are now into data centers, we are into gas pipelines, we are into warehousing, we are doing industrial factories. So all these lines are new for us, but we have to imbibe them, and one by one we really do it. But when I started, I didn't have any staff. We had just 5 people, and we did very small works. But over a period of time, we grew incrementally, not exponentially. And now we are a large company. So all the activities you do, whether it's construction or anything else that you're going to do, you just have to do it similar way in terms of whatever it is. Today, it's much easier to learn. Today, much easier to get finance, much easier to be a startup. So, which was not available earlier. In the first 20 years of my career, we got no bank loans. And we used to borrow money on hundis at 2% interest per month. And that's how we started life. Now, as compared to that, we have interest now at single-digit interest rates. We have housing loans which are available at the lowest possible rate for my clients and customers. We have commercial premises where people One company called TCS has taken 2.5 million square feet, one customer from me in Thane for the purposes of their offices in terms of it. We built SEZ, we built retail, we built hotels, we built hospitals, we built schools. So all that we continue to do, and every aspect of it is new for us when we take it up. But we learn, and we learn to do what we have to do, and it could be any of the activities, not necessarily construction.
Thank you, sir. So now, next question, sir, in line. With the world evolving and getting technology advanced, do you think CAs with the added understanding of technology are best placed to run businesses, given their wide array of training in finance, risk, and compliance?
Technology is imperative, whether it is construction, whether it is cars, whether it is any line of thing. So even if you're a lawyer, you need technology to make you move to the next level. So obviously a chartered accountant will use technology in a much, much better way to do it. And that's a part and parcel of your commitment to make a change. I think one would be obsolete without imbibing new technology. And no alternative but to imbibe technology in a very, very, very big way. And why not? Life is so much easier with technology. So your professional competency. So let's take medicine, for instance. When I got operated for my appendix operation when I was 12 years old, I am 71, there was a cut on my stomach of almost 10 inches with 12 stitches. Today, if anybody has to get his appendix done in my hospital, there are 2-3 small holes, pinholes which are done. And the surgery is done. It's not considered a great big surgery. And in my time, it was an open surgery, which was considered very, very tricky. I was in hospital for 13 days and all. And today, the patient goes away in 2 days back home. The knee surgery replacement, others, hearts. We change heart valves through the veins by a cardiac physician rather than a cardiac surgeon. So technology in every field of activity, including chartered accountants, is going to be a game changer in the whole world. Children, in fact, are going to stop using memory as stuff. Everybody is going to use the internet, Google, Wikipedia, and stuff like that. They're going to stop learning how to multiply, to add, subtract. They'll find it extremely difficult to do so, but they'll say we don't need to. Very soon you will be able to have spectacles, which will actually you can see your whatever it is there on the internet. You will be able to see it just by blinking your eye and communicating to that. So you can act. If I'm making a speech to you, and if I had a prepared speech, which I don't have, but if I had a prepared speech, I could actually run it through my glasses, and I would be able to speak to you, and I would actually be reading through the spectacles. So technology is going to change, and all these things we have to understand. As long as technology is used and not abused and misused, it's fine. But so technology is to take us into the next world forward. Unfortunately, there's a lot of abuse of technology, but that is the case in everything. You have a knife. In the good old days, you cut bread, you cut vegetables, you cut your food, and you can also kill somebody with it. So the knife is neither good or not bad. Technology is not good or bad, but the use of technology can be good or bad. If you create gas which will kill people, or you use technology to create better and bigger bombs, I think that's horrible. But anyway, till the world is able to get peace and make things go fine, we'll still continue to, for commercial reasons and political reasons, continue to create military and bombs and bombers and divert money for the purposes of the defense rather than for removing poverty and education and stuff like that, and really spend more and more money into that area. So technology is fantastic. It's absolutely unbelievable. Look at the COVID story. I mean, the numbers who would have died would have been great multiple of what has happened. Vaccination has really solved a lot of problems in terms of mitigating the losses which have taken place, and technology will continue to grow. Just imbibe it, but use it for good.
Correct, sir. As you rightly said, sir, technology is the part and parcel of everyone's life. Now you can see that people across the world is watching this virtual conference, and this has become possible because of technology only. So now, sir, this is the last question from our member. So the question is, in the given pandemic conditions, how long it may take for real estate to bounce back, as it is a driver of the economy?
Real estate in India is already bounced back. We have done more business in the last 1 year than you can imagine. If you look at the listed companies on the stock market, each and every one of them has grown beyond imagination. But there's one difference. Earlier, when you used to say real estate has done well, or commercial real estate has done well, you would think that every company in India has done well. Today, it's not like that. There will be companies which have done fantastically, there will be companies which have done ordinary, and there are companies which have done bad, and there are companies which are dead. So what will India too is the same story. So you'll have great companies doing very, very well even today. And my guesstimate is that the growth next year and the next couple of years, as I have already told you, even Niti Aayog has made that statement. And I guesstimate that there will be consolidation, there will be growth.
Okay, I think there is some technical glitches, members. So now we'll move into our next session. So now it's time for most awaited raffle draw. Can we have the spin, please? Congratulations. The winner for today's raffle draw is Vijay Karunakaran. A big round of applause to CA Vijay Karunakaran. So now it's time for 5 minutes stretch break. We will resume the session after 5 minutes. Thank you one and all. See you after 5 minutes.
The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is one of the largest accounting bodies of the world. Established in 1981, Doha chapter of the ICAI is oldest amongst its 44 overseas chapters and is the first professional membership body to be registered with the Qatar Financial Center. DCICAI is pleased to conduct 7th International Conference, Resilience and Reinvention on 28 and 29 October 2021. The conference will be attended by over 250 professionals across the globe and will be seeing intriguing, insightful and inspiring deliberations during the technical sessions and panel discussion to be conducted by a galaxy of speakers composed of corporate honchos, business leaders and esteemed personalities. DCICAI Management Committee is grateful to its sponsors for the support. VIP sponsors: Aster Medical Center, Morrison Menon Chartered Accountants and Partners, Oracle, Protiviti. Annual Silver Sponsors: Creston SVP Chartered Accountants. Digital Partner: AGP World 1. Event Sponsors: Al Masjid Group, Al Muftaha Group, Alok K. Saxena Auditing and Accounting, Apparel Qatar, Deloitte and Touche, Elegancia Healthcare, Gulfar Al Misnad, KPMG, MAN Energy Solutions, MS Partner, Parker Russell Qatar, Petrotech, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Qatar Design Consortium, Quantum Global Solution, ZAD Holdings, 360 TF. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is one of the largest accounting bodies of the world. Established in 1981, Doha chapter of the ICAI is oldest amongst its 44 overseas chapters and is the first professional membership body to be registered with the Qatar Financial Center. DCICAI is pleased to conduct 7th International Conference, Resilience and Reinvention on 28 and 29 October 2021. The conference will be attended by over 250 professionals across the globe and will be seeing intriguing, insightful and inspiring deliberations during the technical sessions and panel discussion to be conducted by a galaxy of speakers composed of corporate honchos, business leaders and esteemed personalities. DCICAI Management Committee is grateful to its sponsors for the support. VIP sponsors: Aster Medical Center, Morrison Menon Chartered Accountants and Partners, Oracle, Protiviti. Annual Silver Sponsors: Creston SVP Chartered Accountants, Digital Partner, AGP World 1. Event Sponsors: Al Masjid Group, Al Muftaha Group, Alok K. Saxena Auditing and Accounting, Apparel Qatar, Deloitte and Touche, Elegancia Healthcare, Gulfar Al Misnad, KPMG, MAN Energy Solutions, MS Partner, Parker Russell Qatar, Petrotech, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Qatar Design Consortium, Quantum Global Solution, ZAD Holdings, 360 TF. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is one of the largest accounting bodies of the world. Established in 1981, Doha chapter of the ICAI is oldest amongst its 44 overseas chapters and is the first professional membership body to be registered with the Qatar Financial Center. DCICAI is pleased to conduct 7th International Conference, Resilience and Reinvention on 28 and 29 October 2021. The conference will be attended by over 250 professionals across the globe and will be seeing intriguing, insightful and inspiring deliberations during the technical sessions and panel discussion to be conducted by a galaxy of speakers composed of corporate honchos, business leaders and esteemed personalities. DCICAI Management Committee is grateful to its sponsors for the support. VIP sponsors: Aster Medical Center, Morrison Menon Chartered Accountants and Partners, Oracle, Protivity. Annual Silver sponsors: Creston SVP Chartered Accountants, Digital Partner, AGP World 1. Event sponsors: Al Masjid Group, Al Muftaha Group, Alok K. Saxena Auditing and Accounting, Apparel Qatar, Deloitte and Touche, Elegancia Healthcare, Gulfar Al Misnad, KPMG, MAN Energy Solutions, MS Partner, Parker Russell Qatar, Petrotech, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Qatar Design Consortium, Quantum Global Solution, ZAD Holdings, 360 TF.
Respected speakers of the day, dear members of Doha chapter and members across the globe, my dear ExCom and subcommittee members and team AGP, welcome back to our 7th International Conference with the theme Resilience and Reinvention. And a warm good afternoon to each one of you. I hope you all are enjoying the event and at the same time are getting a lot of takeaways and life lessons from this event. And I'm sure that this session also will leave you with a lot of life lessons from a very humble and simple yet very powerful personality. Dear all, it's my honor and privilege to introduce the speaker of the session, Mr. Sridhar Vembu, an IITian and then MS and PhD from US, co-founded Zoho Corporation in the year 1996 and has been the CEO since the year 2000. The company has emerged as the largest software product company in India while pursuing a unique set of choices which spans hiring, training, product strategy, location, and customer satisfaction, all driven by a holistic philosophy that puts contentment and humanity as key virtue. His topic will be when to or not use metrics. As the topic is a bit tricky, I want to give a brief about the same. Standard management doctrine says we cannot manage what we cannot measure. Yet leadership is all about things that are measurable, though they lead to measurable results. With this, I request all those who are present here to put your hands together for a huge round of applause in welcoming the session speaker, Mr. Sridhar Vembu. Sir, screen is all yours.
Thank you. Namaskar. I know I'm speaking to an audience of chartered accountants, and the reason I chose this topic and not to measure is accounting is all about measure, all about numbers. And yet, I want to talk about those that are beyond numbers. In fact, Albert Einstein said it best when he said, everything that counts cannot be counted. So that's a very good, and he's of course a major physicist. His entire thing was to measure things. Physics is about measurement. But he thinks everything that counts cannot be counted. And everything that can be counted doesn't count. So just because you measure something doesn't mean it's important. And nor is it true that everything that's important can be measured. So that's going to be my presentation today. And I will share my screen. One moment. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to start with the nature of work, because this is, where does measurement arise? It arises from our work, from our business. I'm going to talk about the nature of work. How do we define work? Okay, that's where I'm going to start, because it might appear like work is something that's very easy to define. It turns out more and more of the kind of work we do that generate economic value that ultimately you get to count as accountants, is not easily capturable in metrics at all. And this is the nature of my presentation today. So this is from Adventures of Tom Sawyer, that famous book Mark Twain wrote, where Tom Sawyer, as you may remember this book from childhood, his aunt or his grandma was upset with him, so she orders him to paint the fence as punishment. So he starts painting the fence, and he's bored. I mean, he doesn't want to do this, right? And then other kids around the neighborhood start coming in, and maybe some of them start making fun of him for having to paint the fence when they are playing. And then he starts pretending, Tom Sawyer starts pretending that he's actually enjoying the painting the fence, and there's nothing else he could do more than painting the fence. He has the privilege of painting the fence while the other kids don't have the privilege. He starts pretending. Then slowly, one by one, the other boys start begging him, hey, can I paint the fence a little bit? Can I paint? And he ends up collecting all their goods. So, okay, I'll allow you to paint this section if you give me that ball you have in your hand. Or if you can give that apple you have in your hand, like that. So he collects a lot of, in other words, he sells the right to paint the fence to all the kids. And they end up painting the fence for him, Tom Sawyer. And he goes, gets off scot-free from his punishment. So what was punishment for him, painting the fence, became actually other kids paint the fence for him, and he goes off scot-free. This is actually a famous episode in Mark Twain, and Mark Twain adds in the book, work consists of whatever a body is obliged to do, and that play consists of whatever a body is not obliged to do. And I remind myself of this because every morning I try to go for a swim about an hour in the pond here. And now it's actually a little cooler. The water is pretty cold. And going up there early morning, like 6 a.m. for an hour swim, a lot of people think it's a form of torture. And I enjoy it. So is that work or is that play? Right? If you ask other people around, they'll say, why is he dragging himself to the pond and it's so cold and the water is actually quite cold. And he's doing this. And while I'll say that's play, I'm enjoying it. In fact, if I have to get other people to do this, I have to pay them to do this, right? But I'm inflicting that on myself. So really, this is the nature of work and play. Work is whatever we are obliged to do by somebody else. Play is whatever we do without somebody else obliging us to do it, right? That's the only definition that ever makes sense when you come deep down to it. All the rest of it is. So we work our best when it doesn't feel like work. That even when we are doing work, when we are enjoying the process somehow, and it doesn't matter what work is. You might say this work is intrinsically vertically. But actually, I know this is another example that I will come up with. I've observed how certain people, for example, in the field work, agricultural work, which you might think as drudgery when you think about it, hot sun toiling. But some people have a way of making it a form of meditation. When they are in it, they are in the flow, and you can see that they're actually, there is a serenity, calmness about them. So we work our best when it doesn't feel like work. And it doesn't matter what that work is. It could be a repetitive work, it could be intellectual work, whatever it is. We have to be in the flow of it. That is when it doesn't feel like work. And this is the joy of life, the French expression, right? Can we bring the joy of life itself to work? That's the real question. And what we have found, my own personal experience is, when you have very small focused teams, your enjoyment of work is higher. Small focused teams that are connected to each other. Okay. And that's the key. Small focused team with process overhead that's minimum. In other words, everybody in the team knows everyone else. And we don't have very tedious processes that are getting in the way. When we have that type of atmosphere, people do their best. I'm sorry about that. So, and that is the key to enjoyment of work. And there has to be a sense of autonomy. And when there is a focus team and they have their own the control, they don't feel like they are being pushed and prodded all the time. This is where metrics and measurement comes in. A sense of autonomy can only come in when there is not a constant sense of being monitored, being poked, being prodded, all that. And leadership that is approachable. So you are working in a small team, you run into a difficulty, without any trouble you can approach leadership and explain your problem. That's part of the enjoyment of work. And so basically you have a culture of that small team with autonomy. That's the way that you get the most enjoyment of work. This is something that we find. And what we have, when we have those small teams with autonomy, the cross-team and collaboration is the major job of senior leadership. So for example, in Zoho, we have a lot of teams enabling those teams to collaborate across. For example, Zoho Books or accounting team communicating with our Zoho CRM team. That type of thing, that collaboration, enabling that is what leadership has to do. And this is really how teams work. And all of this begins with relationships. Relationships are critical to ensure this. And this is where I actually use this term. We cannot professionalize and mandate cooperation. I think a lot of organizations try to make this some kind of a mandate top-down and list down requirements, all of that. But that's not when work gets done best. If you have to write down every single rule, you cannot really work well. I'll give you a more recent example in our company. We have this work from home. We have started small offices. And people asked, what is the policy about when do you have to work from home? When do you have to work from a small office? All of that. I said, I cannot create a policy that spells down every last detail. Please have a cooperative relationship with your team and your manager so that we can make decisions on the ground what is appropriate. Your personal situation may mandate something. Your team situation may mandate something. I cannot make policy that is relevant to everyone. So the best thing is to not make this a mandate, professionalize or mandate these decisions. And can it scale like that? We have 10,000 people. Can we scale? And that's the question. And what we have come to in Zoho is we don't run with these metrics everywhere. We don't measure everything about employees. We have metrics about our products, how they perform. We have metrics about markets. We have metrics about customers, all of that. But what we don't do is extensive metrics about our employees. In fact, we are one of the very few companies in the world that don't believe in extensively measuring everything about employees. And these relationships that I mentioned have to be cultivated and nurtured. The relationship within a team and relationships across team. And it cannot be this transactional nature where it's the company is not a market where I just go and say, I'll do this for you or you do this for me. It cannot be that way. There ought to be a long-term bonding and relationship, more like in a family. And that feeling of a close-knitness has to be part of a culture. And that culture has to be supported by the tools we work with. So sometimes we make too much of tools and we are a tool-making company. But the tools don't come first. The culture comes first. So which means that we have to be nurturing the culture of cooperation, culture of relationships within a team, and then enable that cooperation with tools, collaboration tools, all of that. For example, all this meeting, all of these tools, if in a good culture, they will be put to very good use. If the culture is not sound, they will not be put to good use. And simply mandating these, measuring everything, is not going to get the best outcome. Tools can make collaboration easier, all these meeting and other tools. But if the underlying culture is not there where people collaborate and cooperate, tools alone won't help. This is why it's important not to put the tools first. It's important to put the culture first and then enable the culture with the tools. And the tools themselves then get shaped by the culture, how we use them. So regardless of what the tool is, ultimately they are subordinate to the humans that use them. And the humans have to shape those tools, will end up shaping the tools. And then the tools in turn, by extensive, when we start using tools, they also shape our culture. So at first, we shape our tools and then the tools shape us. So it's a continuous feedback process there. And I'll give you some examples of this, of how we experience this within Zoho. And we have this software called Zoho Connect, which is the equivalent of like a Facebook within the company, which is now used across a lot of organizations. Even some very big organizations use Zoho Connect now. And this is what I call open house that I conduct. And for example, I instruct people, I'm here for open house, please keep the discussion civil. Okay. And this is something that I run every week. In fact, just before this meeting, I was running our open house. So somebody asked, what is the next big thing that you are planning? And I say, we can never plan the next big thing because the big thing cannot be predicted. So I say, what we try to do is develop some conviction on how the world ought to be, what needs to change, and go and invent it, and maybe the world will agree with us sometimes. It means you have to develop inner convictions on what you ought to do, rather than merely keep on taking polls on what we should be doing. Though leadership is not about simply running polls all the time. You have to have some convictions what the world ought to be. That's what I'm responding here. And in a similar way, there's questions like this come. Does God exist? If not, what do you think is a driving force that controls the universe? And I responded, faith in God actually helps people to be grounded. So find a purpose, and the purpose is then your God, really. So that is what I said there. So these are the kind of interactions that happen in Zoho. This is actually happens all the time. We had a discussion just like this just about half an hour ago right now. And this kind of guest post where people are allowed to ask me questions anonymously equalizes the power dynamics. We get more freewheeling discussions in the company because of this guest post mechanism. And that is how we actually built a culture like this. And it leads to very open discussions within the company, and then leads to better ideas, and therefore leads to better products, better outcomes, all of that. And this is how we have operated as a company all along. What it has helped us avoid is, I don't have to spend all my time in endless meetings, constantly reviewing measurements about our own employees. People are empowered to take care of their domains, their products, their markets, their customers. And I only get involved when there are questions of strategy or vision or philosophy in this. And I don't have to run every little detail because there is a lot of good people who are working on this. And for them, they have that, they know they have the autonomy on the job. They also know that if there is any, if we make mistakes, there is room for mistakes and recover from that. So when we try to avoid all mistakes, when we try to instrument systems so that no mistake is ever possible, it stifles all freedom and there is no autonomy in the company anymore. That's when we remove the joy of work. That's when the work becomes too tedious, too monotonous. And that's when either people either stay in a lifeless way or leave the job simply. Both are losses. When people stay without that purpose, animated by purpose in a company, the company actually loses and the person also loses. And then people leaving, when attrition happens on a large scale, the company loses its essential core. It's the core asset of every organization is people, and too much attrition is a major problem too. So nurturing that culture is very critical for us to succeed in this economy. And these tools like Zoho Connect can only work in a cultural context. Ask yourself, for example, can you put something like Zoho Connect to work in your organization? Why not? When will it work? So that cultural context has to be created for the tool to be used. And we even we go to the extent of having a workplace architect in Zoho, a real, we try to shape our facilities to enable our culture. For example, I don't sit inside an office. Everybody sits in open seating. Part of it is anybody can approach me in the office. When I'm in the office, anybody can approach me, any employee. So only for meetings like this, when I have presentations, I come to a meeting room. Once it's over, I go to the open space and then I'm surrounded by people and we have conversations. And our workplace architect makes careful observation of how we work, our individual spaces, collaborative areas, meeting rooms. And this type of job where crafting a space to fit your requirement is a new kind of job. It's not normal in most companies, but we find a lot of value in this. So even as automation takes away some kind of jobs, other kinds of jobs like this will arise. Construction trade may automate, but workplace architecture might dominate. So I'm just giving an example of how automation, productivity can lead to other jobs. So we actually have, in this respect, 2 rules of hiring. I'll share with you how we hire. And first, the good news. There exists outstanding, exceptional people who can perform miracles. And you will always see in business, there exist some people who can seemingly perform miracles. They are exceptionally talented people. There exist such people. Well, the bad news is that there is no system or method through which we can find them. There's no systematic way to find great people. Okay. And so the only thing that organizations are left with then is operate in a way that great people find you. That's what I do. What I try to do is really good people who want to work for Zoho. Then they approach us and we recruit them. So that is the best way to find great people. Operate in a way that great people approach you. That's the first step. And 2, when you do stumble upon a great person, you work hard to keep them. Part of my leadership philosophy is to be available to our people, particularly our really good contributors. I spend my time discussing with them and I work very hard to keep our good people. That's very important in any organization. You have to work very hard to keep people. And so the only way to keep good people is you build a really good culture and you have good autonomy for your people. So that's the only way to keep really good people in your team. And this is where actually we have our initiatives like Zoho University. Now it's called Zoho Schools of Learning, where we recruit directly from high schools without going through college or university. In a sense, it's similar to your apprenticeship program in the chartered accountants, except that we have it for software engineers. It's an apprenticeship program. And we actually pay them to be in the training system. And they go through about a year of very rigorous hands-on training. Then 6 months they spend in a team, and then they get recruited. Through the entire time, we pay them. And so 1 year of intense hands-on education and followed by 6 to 12 months of apprenticeship. And we have now over 10,000 employees and over 1,000 employees now. These statistics have to be updated and have come through this program. And the benefits are not merely in terms of recruitment. While we recruit great people through this program, it's also, there is a spiritual sense of mission. Even employees who are not from Zoho University who find that volunteering for our for this program, mentoring these young students, mentoring young employees who come to the program gives them a better, stronger purpose in their own work. They find more job satisfaction doing those things. So it overall provides a sense of belonging for an organization, belong to a group. So this is how we have built a company where we have nurtured a lot of talent like this over a period of time. And in the Indian context, given our social situation, of the economic situation where there's a lot of people in poverty, our ability to help people come into a job that pays well and puts them in the middle class also gives a lot of spiritual mission to people, our own employees. Our per capita GDP is about $2,000. And so it's important that we, take care of our own people from disadvantaged backgrounds. And that's what Zoho School of Learning strives to do. And all of these don't matter if you are not able to achieve good results. And what are our results? As I said, none of this would matter if you don't do well commercially. How are we doing as a company? We are the largest software product company from India today. We have now approaching 10,000 people and nearly approaching the $1 billion mark, all of that. And globally, we have customer base that is more than 500,000 organizations now. And this is our 25 plus years, 50 apps, 180 countries, all of this. It's a connected ecosystem. And not only that, we have all these products that we built. All these are logos of our products. All this is built by the system where we are not extremely metrics driven internally as a company. We measure our revenues, our products, how the product perform. Our technologies are measured, our people are not measured. And that is very critical. I started with measurement as a question. Metrics driven managements do not achieve similar results, where we have been able to do this from scratch in the last 25 years. We built all these products. We built the largest software product company from India. All of this without the traditional measure and manage process that most organizations follow. So with this, I want to, and this is our Zoho One, which is a complete suite that brings all this together. And I want to thank all of you for listening to me, and I'll be open for some questions and answers. Thank you. And I will end this presentation with this. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that insightful session. It was really helpful for those who want to retain their employees who are great at work. Now, we have one question that has come from one of our member. The question is, with the advent of technology, how do we marry culture and human principle, ensuring efficiency and productivity within the organization?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So where does technology enter the picture here? If you look at human beings, ultimately we put technology to use according to our own cultural patterns, and this is true across cultures, like Indian culture or Middle Eastern culture. Each of them, technology is put to use according to our own needs and our own patterns. And the same way, organizations have to have a strong culture and then use technology that fits that culture. So, in other words, technology cannot be separated from your culture. Think of your culture, what you want your art to represent, and put your technology to use accordingly, in accordance with your own value systems. That is what I would recommend.
Thank you so much, sir. That was helpful for the member who, in fact, asked this question. And with this, we are very much thankful to you for attending and giving a insightful, thought-provoking session for all the employees, those who are in the managerial position. So with this, I would like to thank you once again, and would like to hand over the session to my colleague CA Rakesh. Thank you.
Good afternoon, respected members. I'm sure we all are enjoying this learning session. And to continue further, we have among us such an eminent speaker who is going to speak on edupreneurship and avenue for value creation. We welcome Parag Saha, who is founder and chief mentor, Midas. He is an entrepreneur by profession, but an educationist at heart. He is also the founding chairman of the Flem University, India's first liberal art university. He is a serial entrepreneur and is a pioneer in real estate. He was awarded by the Business Acharya for the year 2016 by Entrepreneur magazine. He is also the recipient of the Visionary Leadership Award by DNA Group and has been on the jury of International Innovation Center and also awarded Icon of Education by the Ministry of Education. He has also authored the book Entrepreneur, where he shares his learning as an entrepreneur. As we see, his life is full of inspiration, and his edupreneurship journey started with a quarter of rupee his mother used to give him, and he invested those money in buying and reading those books. He believed that everyone should dream big and dare to fail. Observation and empathy are important factors in any entrepreneur. We should be focused on chasing the right questions rather chasing the right answer, which in effect result in diversion way of thinking. He is a man who carry the dream of making 10,000 entrepreneurs who would thereby contribute to the livelihood of crores of people. With this, I hand over the virtual screen to Professor Parag Saha. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your patience. And behind all these achievements, there are a lot of failures that one can talk about. See what resumes speak or about the successes that a human being has had. But I believe that our life is 99% tragedies and 1% comedies. So let me begin by telling you a bit about my journey as an entrepreneur, and then I'll go into the education part of it. One minute, I'm not able to get the PowerPoint presentation. Can someone help me with this? Yes, got it.
Give us a second, we can go live.
Yes. Oxford Golf Course is a project of approximately 1,400 square feet, 1,400 acres. Out of which 135 acres is our golf course, where we have a state-of-the-art golf course which is ranked the best golf course in Asia. And so this is what the golf course looks like. It's in Pune. And it's in the city of Pune. It's in Baner area. These are the residences that we have for people who are avid golfers and want to buy an apartment overlooking the golf course. So I want to talk about a little bit about my experience in education. The flame experiment. The flame experiment began with a very simple idea that as undergraduate students, I was a BCom pass out and I got summarily rejected by IIM Ahmedabad. And because I wasn't good at maths, unlike all of you esteemed chartered accountants, I wasn't good at maths at all. And I wasted those 3 years doing my BCom in Pune. And then I applied to IIM Ahmedabad and I was rejected by IIM Ahmedabad. As I walked out of the portal of that great institution, I thought to myself, one day I will have something to do with this institution. And as destiny would have it, I hired the very people who had rejected me to become the dean and the president of Flame University. Flame stands for Foundation for Liberal and Management Education. So what is liberal education? Liberal education is, let me give you a corollary or a simile to liberal education. See, if you look at a Western meal, a European meal, it consists of a structure. So there is a starter, there is a soup, then there is a main course, then there is a dessert, there is coffee and there is liqueur. So it's structured, you eat with your fork and spoon, it's bland, it's predictable. You look at an American meal, there are buffet counters, you walk up to a buffet counter, you pick up a dish, you taste it, you like it, you have it, you don't like it, you move to the next counter. But you look at an Indian thali. In the Indian thali, we can choose what we want to have with every morsel. If you want something sour, we can have it with pickle. If you want something sweet, you can have it with a dal. If you want to have something spicy, you can have it with a sabzi. So with every morsel, your taste changes. And you use your hand, you use all your 5 senses. You smell, taste, touch, see, and feel. Right? So liberal education is about Indianizing the very concept of liberal education. You'll be surprised that liberal education actually began in, actually you should not be surprised, but it began in Takshashila and Nalanda University. And the focus was on teaching students philosophy and mathematics. And of course, Chanakya Shastra, economics. So when I began Flame, I said, let's give students 150 courses per term and let them choose what they want to study. So they could do theatre with maths and filmmaking with philosophy and music with physics. Any choice of any 5 subjects they could take and they could learn. So they did that for the first 2 years, where they would explore many subjects, from economics to politics to philosophy to psychology to anthropology to cultural studies to English literature, just about anything that they wanted to learn. And then at the end of 2 years, they would pick up a major and a minor. And the major could be maths, the minor could be music. The major could be filmmaking, minor could be business finance. It could be just about any combination that they want. And sometime in 2000, so this is what the Flame campus looks like. It's also in Pune, right next to the golf course. Sometime in 2013, I began the Midas experiment. Now, what is Midas experiment? I felt that entrepreneurship can be taught, but I was not fully aware. So I began to find out how can one teach entrepreneurship. This is what the Midas campus looks like. The Midas classroom, Midas incubation center, life and so can entrepreneurship be taught? Was a moot question. And at that time, there was a raging debate world over that can you teach people to become entrepreneurs? So there's a lady called Dr. Saras Saraswati. She's based at the Darden Business School at the University of Virginia Tech. And she wanted to find out, do entrepreneurs think differently than the way managers do? Right? So she invited 60 people whom she called expert entrepreneurs to come and answer some questions under control condition. And she did the same thing with about 60 CEOs of the top 500 Fortune companies. And she stumbled on this hypothesis which she calls the effectuation theory, where she says that expert entrepreneurs are focused on resources, not on goals. In the first phase of your enterprise, you never begin by saying, this is my goal and I have to achieve that goal. All you're looking at is, I have this much product, this is what I know, this is whom I know, this is what I can do. Within these given constraints, how can I create an artifact? So there are 5 principles of effectuation. The first principle is called bird in hand. So focus on what you have rather than what you should have. Focus on whom you know rather than whom you should know, and focus on what you know rather than what you should know. The second principle is called the lemonade principle. The lemonade principle states that when lemons get thrown at you, you squeeze it into lime juice and sell it back to people. So for example, I was asking some of my students the other day, given the pandemic, how would one deal with it? So they said, you can't deal with anything. I said, no, there must be some way that one can deal with it. There should be opportunities even with the pandemic. So they started saying, yes, sir, I put on weight. So I said, you must find out how many people have put on weight. So they said, many of us have. I said, see, there is an opportunity there. Maybe you can sell something to people who are obese. Or people are not going to offices, so they need table chairs. Or people needed, sanitization products. So there are so many opportunities that the pandemic threw open. So it's up to us to actually grab opportunities. So this is how expert entrepreneurs think. The third principle is called the third principle is called the crazy quilt principle. The crazy quilt principle states that you don't create partnerships in a structured manner. You let the artifact of the organization evolve over a period of time. So you don't say that I need a CFO, you don't say that I need a CEO, you don't say I need an executive assistant, you don't say I need a marketing manager. You're all things rolled into one. Then you go to a supplier, you convince him, you sell him your big dream, and then he joins your artifact because he believes in why you do what you do rather than what it is you do and how it is that you do it. Right? Then the fourth principle is called the piloting the plane, where it is stated that entrepreneurs look for control and not prediction. See, most managers are trained to look at prediction. So they don't like surprises and they don't leverage contingencies. They like to actually look at something and say that this is how I predict the future will unfold itself. Plans are made, plans are static, environment is dynamic. Who could have predicted a pandemic 2 years back? Nobody could have. So the environment is always dynamic and it's not static. So in the crazy quilt principle, what you do is you allow the artifact to build by itself. Like a grandmother used to make a quilt out of the pieces of cloth that she would stitch together and allow the artifact to develop. Unlike solving a jigsaw puzzle where you have 450 pieces, every piece has a perfect place. That is a managerial way of thinking. Entrepreneurial way of thinking is building a quilt over a period of time. Right? And then the fifth principle is called the affordable loss principle. That means you don't look at the upside, you look at the downside. You look at what worse can happen in the given environment. All right? Based on this, I began to think of how am I going to develop a course that I'm going to be building. So my father used to always say that a surgeon has a lion's heart, a camel's stomach, an eagle's eye, a lady's fingers, and shark's feet. So I converted this for entrepreneurship. I said a lion's heart, adversity is his best friend. A camel's stomach, he knows how to play the waiting game. And eagle's eye, focus, focus, and focus. Lady's finger is gentle with people, and shark's teeth never lingers on taking decisions. So one thing that I make my students do is prepare what I call a value matrix. Now, these are things that I have done myself. These are all things that I have practiced myself. All my coaches in Midas, we don't call them professors, we call them coaches. So the coach is somebody who has work experience in the entrepreneurial space. So I make them do what I call a value matrix. They write something on the x-axis and they write something on the y-axis. On the x-axis, they'll write the ethical dilemma they are going to face. Am I going to lie to my customer? Am I going to cheat on my customer? Am I going to do something criminal? Am I going to do something illegal? Am I going to pay people money to get my work done? These are ethical dilemmas that every entrepreneur faces. And on the y-axis, you write yes, no, maybe. So am I going to lie to my customer? Maybe. Right? If it's maybe, then you have to have a sub-matrix to say under what circumstances will you lie. Will you lie to him about your pricing, costing? You have to ask yourself these tough questions. So you have to have a very clear set of values that your organization is going to work on. Partnerships. Whenever you make partnerships with anybody, all my businesses are in partnership. I have 14 odd businesses and all of them are in partnership. So what I've learned over the period of time is spouses don't meet. One of the unwritten understanding I have with all my partners is that the wives never meet. So if the wives meet, then uski sadi meri sadi se bala safed kyun? That is a question that starts happening. The wife starts feeling, poor, my husband works so much. But look at his partner. His partner is making more money and he's enjoying himself. He takes his children out for holidays. My husband never takes me out, so on and so forth. So spouses should not meet. Speak, not write. See, in the American culture, what happens is if you write something, it can be changed. But in the Indian culture, anything you write is cast in stone. The Bhagavad Gita hasn't gone through many iterations. Right? But the Bible has gone through several iterations. So it is better to speak and then write. So the tonality of what you are saying is not understood by the person at the other side. And it's very important. So if I were to write to my partner and say, Anil, can we meet? He might take it as, Parag, why is Parag asking me to meet him? He might take it as, Anil, can we meet? Whereas I'm meaning to say, Anil, can we meet, please? So when you say something, it needs to be said properly. Because for us, the tonality is far more important than the written word. Of course, later on you can write, Reverend Sir Top, we are meeting tomorrow at 4 p.m. in my office. Right? But is have a shared dream. Unless and until you have a shared dream with your partner, there is no point in getting into partnership. No point saying, oh, he's a techie, or he's a finance person, he's a good marketing person, he's a good business development person. Makes no sense at all whatsoever. Unless and until you have a shared value and shared dreams, don't get into a partnership. Prepare a dissolution deed before you enter into a partnership. Like the prenuptial contracts, I think it's very important that partners decide well in advance how they are going to separate. And I believe that you as chartered accountants must insist on every client that please prepare your dissolution deed before you prepare the partnership. So when the going is bad, the partners stick together. So only when the going starts getting good, that the partners begin to fight among themselves. What I believe is that most of the Western structures have failed. They have failed because there is no risk appetite of ownership. In a highly professionalized organization, like an American Express Bank, where there is no single owner, where the entire ownership is with millions of shareholders, there is no risk appetite of ownership. Whereas in India, if you see, many organizations have stood the test of time. And they have stood the test of time because they have an efficiency of a professionally managed organization, but they have a risk appetite of a professionally managed organization. One of the questions I always ask my students is, do you look for loyalty or efficiency? Most of them say we look for loyalty. I say no. For lower down the value chain, look for loyalty. Upper the value chain, look for efficiency. Right? Because you need efficient managers, but you need a loyal driver. You need a loyal security guard. You need a loyal accountant. But you don't have to have a very loyal CFO. What you need is an efficient CFO. So look for loyalty and efficiency as different negotiation skills. One of the things I always tell my students is that when you ask the closing question, shut up. The guy who speaks first always loses in the negotiation. People skills are very important for entrepreneurs. Unless and until your business has a unique value proposition, there is no point in you staying in the market. You're not an entrepreneur, then you're just a businessman. Unless and until your business has a unique value proposition. Now I'm going to talk about 3+2 C's. See, there was a survey conducted of the 500 Fortune 500 company CEOs, and they were asked what are the key skill sets that people are going to need in order to survive in challenging times. I have changed my profession 3 times. Right? My grandson is going to change his profession something like 12 or 15 times. So the momentums have undergone enormous change. Most of you must have changed your profession at least 2 to 3 times. So, and my grandfather was a cotton trader and he remained a cotton trader all his life. My father was a doctor, he remained a doctor all his life. But I changed my profession 3 times. And as the momentums are changing, the number of professions one is going to have is going to need a lot of change in the attitude rather than skills. So they were asked these questions and they said creativity, critical thinking and communication are very important. Now what is creativity? Creativity is all about empathy and observation. Critical thinking is your capacity to ask the right questions rather than chasing the right answers. And communication, we all know, is very important. But to that I have added 2 more C's. I said compassion and collaboration. As Indians, we need to have that compassion, that empathy, to be able to put yourself in the shoes of others and feel the pain that that person is feeling. And collaboration is very important because we Indians are lone rangers. We believe that if I have a great idea, I can make it work. But without collaboration, it doesn't work. So how did I begin the Midas experiment? I stumbled on this concept called the Bloom's taxonomy, which states that there are 5 levels of learning that everybody goes through. At level 1 and 2 are at the bottom of the pyramid is remembering and understanding. What is remembering? We wrote down formulas and definitions. So I remember when I was in 8th standard, we had heard the second law of Newton's motion, which said that the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force applied. For the life of me, I don't understand any of it, but I remember the formula, or I remember the definition. Then level 2, you apply to word problems. So these are fundamental skills that everybody has to have. What happens is that ultimately, Indian education system unfortunately is taking care of just these first 2 levels of the pyramid, unless and until you have been fortunate enough to study in premier institutions like the IITs and the IIMs, or you've been fortunate to be a chartered accountant, that you are able to synthesize disparate data, right? And then to be able to analyze and evaluate, which is critical thinking, asking the right question is very important. And creating and innovating is the highest order of learning. So to be an entrepreneur, one has to go through all the 5, 6 levels of the Bloom's taxonomy. So 4 semesters to 5 stages, student to entrepreneur journey at Midas. So at level 1, we have idea generation, where I teach a course in critical thought, I teach a course in creativity. Then there are courses in creative writing, there is a course in theatre, there is a course in design thinking, there is a course in economics for entrepreneurs, macroeconomics for entrepreneurs. There is a course in marketing for entrepreneurs, there is a course in finance for entrepreneurs. So at this stage, they understand how to generate as many ideas as they possibly can. We have an idea lab where we have more than 1,000+ ideas. and students generate their own ideas. What I do is I tell them to, look at a bug, a problem that they have faced in their daily life. And based on that, they come out with because behind every problem, there is a gift that it offers. The reason why we solve problems is because there is a gift that a problem offers, right? So they do idea generation. They generate something like 100 odd ideas at the end of 3 months. Then second stage is entrepreneurial fitment. At this stage, what we do is we tell the student that, see, we run a course called Transcend. Transcend is all about awareness, action, and implementation. So you become aware of who you are, you accept who you are, and you take action on who you are. Okay? And at that stage, they do what we call the SWOT analysis. They find out their strengths, weaknesses, their opportunities, and their threats. Then stage 3 is idea validation, where we have a validation lab. Here we use the lean methodology that is propounded by Eric Ries. What we do is we tell students to go to the 20% early adapters. 16.5% of the population for any product or idea is an early adapter. Alright? Unless and until you are able to get a majority of the population who is an early adapter, 16.5%, has to be substantial enough. It can't be 100 or 200 people. It has to be minimum of 10,000 or 25,000 people. Then only will your product sell. Right? So what you do is you actually prepare a prototype of your product. So let's say I'm going to launch a real estate scheme. What I'll do is I'll prepare a brochure and I'll approach, say, 150 clients and tell them that this is what I'm planning, this is the location, this is the approach, and this is the pricing. Will you be ready to buy? I don't do a market survey. I actually talk to the customers. And they say, no, this is too expensive. So I'll ask them, what price will you buy it at? So that's the lean method. So you keep building, measuring, and learning from your early adapters, and then you launch the product. 95% of startups in the world fail because the entrepreneurs assume that this is what the customer wants. Okay, and then they validate it through a market research, which never works. So at idea validation stage, we ask students to go and get in touch with at least 500 early adapters. Conduct interviews. Show them your minimum viable prototype. Build, measure, and learn. And then you incubate the idea, and then you launch the idea. So from student to entrepreneur, there is a journey that they go through. So we don't believe in exams, we believe in giving them experience. So Humans of Midas is one of our very interesting projects we put the students through. What we do is we tell them to spend 1 day with every employee in the organization. Be it a sweeper, be it the gardener, be it the cook, be it the helper in the kitchen, be it the boy who makes their chapatis. Every student is assigned one employee, and that employee makes them do the work that they are doing. And they are supposed to observe the employee, and they are supposed to empathize with them. Then they are supposed to go and spend the night in their homes, and they are supposed to eat their food and get to know their family. What this does is it chastens them. They realize that they come from a much privileged background. There is a healthy respect developed between the employee and the students, and there is an enormous amount of observation that goes into their entire exercise. And we have a program called the Discover India Entrepreneurial Project. So what they do is they pick up a particular industry and they go and visit that industry. They go in several groups and they go and discover an industry. So last year they had gone to, not last year, but the year before last, in 2019 March, they had gone to Dharavi slums. One group had gone to Dharavi slum, one group had gone to the fashion industry, and one group had gone to Jalandhar to look at the sports industry. Then we have the rural immersion program where they actually go into the rural market. So most of the kids have never visited a rural market. They don't know the size of the rural market. They don't realize that 70% of Indians live in rural areas and there's a big market there. And then we have the business idea validation project, which I already spoke to you about. Then they do something called Shindogo is the art of connecting two unconnected objects and creating a third object, which is useful yet useless. It is the Japanese way of thinking creatively. See, 25 years back, who would have thought that a phone and a camera can be held together? But somebody must have connected a phone and a camera. And that's how we can't think of a life without a phone without a camera, right? So Shindogo is one such way of doing it. Then I give them a 72 hours innovation challenge where I tell them that they have to prepare a business plan, a marketing plan and a finance plan. They're given a 500 rupee note and they're told, prepare your business plan, present it to me, and you have 48 hours to implement your plan. So they sit down and they make a first class plan. And then I tell them, okay, now go and implement the plan. You have 500 rupees as your capital. What they quickly realize is that none of their plans nothing is going to their plan. That's when that's the point of time at which they quickly pivot and start doing something else. So this year, for example, there were students who had planned that they would go and sell flowers to a couple. All right, and they quickly realized that it's not working. So then what they started doing was they started making samosas. They went and tried to sell samosas. And samosas became a big hit. And you'll be surprised that at the end of 48 hours, the group had collected 48,000 rupees. We give away in charity. The point I try to make here is, I try and tell them that life is full of surprises.
Sorry, I can't hear you, Nilachi. Hello?
Hello? Hello? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir, please continue.
So finally, when they launch a product, we conduct what we call a Midas Bazaar, where we actually make them present their products. So this girl has launched a product called Lugo. She's luggage here, delivered there. So she delivers luggages to people's homes. So this boy has come out with cheese. This boy at the bottom right-hand corner has come out with treats for dogs because he is very fond of dogs. Some of our success stories is a girl called Vishaka Rathi who finished her 12th and joined our program. Because she said, I'm going to waste my time doing my BBA, I'm going to do it externally. I want to come and learn to be an entrepreneur. And she has become the head of the business development in Rathi's Build Mart, which is based in Raipur. And we have textbooks to on-field interaction. We make them go to what we call an outbound activity, where they go and meet several sunrise industry owners. So this particular group had gone to a place which sells organic perfumes and oils. Or to your right is we have entrepreneurs who come and spend an evening with them. We call it coffee with entrepreneurs. Competing in the class to collaborating in the outdoor bootcamp. See, in the standard MBA, there is competition. Here we believe in collaboration. We tell them collaborate, don't compete. Compete only with yourself, not with others. What is the difference between a standard MBA program and a Midas program? At Midas, the curriculum is focused on entrepreneurial aspects and application of business subjects like leadership, marketing, finance, lean startup and strategy. Specialized subjects like effectuation, innovation, creativity, lean startup are a part of the core curriculum. Problem solving and thriving in ambiguity is valued. Whereas the curriculum in MBA is often focused on finance, management with application in existing established enterprises rather than new ventures or innovation. Course is delivered in a linear course by course sequence. Course content and learning experiences are delivered in an integrated way, connecting subjects together. See, what we have done is idea generation, there are several subjects. Idea validation, there are several subjects. Entrepreneurial fitment, there are several subjects. Incubation, there are several subjects. And launch, there are several subjects. Experiential learning, in a standard MBA program, application of classroom learning is traditionally done through case studies. Practical application of classroom is emphasized throughout the program. Experiential learning assignment involve real business, real projects, and real people. At Midas, that's what we do. Faculty. Large classroom faculty is a subject matter expert. Our entrepreneurs work as coaches. Our class sizes are very small. Our class sizes are no more than 28 students. And we have 1:4 faculty ratio. So for every 4 students, there is 1 faculty. And we actually create customized courses. Outcomes are climb to the proverbial corporate ladder makes you ready for a first job post MBA. Create leaders, ladders and opportunities for themselves. Venture creation and innovation focus. Roles in family business makes you ready for life as an entrepreneur. Now this is a very interesting boy. I was coming to my success stories. I'm sorry there was a mix-up in the slides. But this boy has created what he calls hot pot. He came to me one day and he said, "Sir, I didn't get hot food when I was in Singapore." I said, "What happened?" He said, "No, there was no power there." So I said, "What about gas?" He said, "No, there was no gas because I was a paying guest." So I said, "So what is your solution?" He said, "Can we not heat food without gas or electricity?" I said, "Talk to our scientists on our panel." Scientists told him, "Go and get some tuna from the market." So he brought some tuna from the market, lime, and he threw water on the lime. The water started boiling. He said, "Use this technology." Today you'll be surprised that this boy has a worldwide patent for a product which is so good, and he's been invited to pitch at the Shark Tanks. This boy wanted to come out with a energy efficient cooker, which is electrical cooker, and which is inexpensive. He won a $50,000 prize for innovation from an international consortium. Artistic. Now this girl was always very passionate about photography and designing, and she wanted to give out a purse, which is it's called Artist Stitch, where every lady gets a purse of her choice. So the color is chosen by her, the name tag is hers, the length of the shoulder is hers, the number of compartments are defined by the lady who is going to own the bag. So every bag is a bespoke bag for her. This boy is very fond of fashion, so he set up a men's exclusive showroom in Pune, where it's called Ithaza. And it's a Western fusion where brand with sense of fashion that is ethnic at heart and modern in trend. Vibrant plan. Now he's joined his family business, but he's now graduated his business into interior manufacturing project where he's imported machinery from Italy and he's actually manufacturing furniture. So he's gone for a forward integration of his product. Finally, let me give you my vision about education. This is something I wrote in sometime in 2006 or 7 when I just began flying. I wrote that in life you have to find your own way. It need not be a shortcut always. In fact, the longer, the better. The more of life you get to see and explore and experience, the better. All our lives, right from the day we are born, we are programmed. We live a programmed existence. Programmed to achieve, to excel, to reach the destination faster, now, soon. Get ahead, kill, kick, take a shortcut, but get ahead. All our lives we are in a hurry to reach some place, that unknown place. And in the process, we forget the process and forget that life is not a destination, but just a journey. My university should liberate you from your programming. It will not impose anything on you. It won't promise you a rosy destination. Only a beautiful path towards that destination. Destination is for you to choose, a matter of individual choice. I dream one day from this university will come Nobel laureate, Prime Minister, Booker Prize nominees, Olympic champions. I dream to create an environment where the young generation will be the change they want to be. They'll be winners, but just not winners, humble winners, modest winners. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Thank you very much, sir, for your insightful session and explaining how the education system need to focus on mentoring outside the classroom. We are really thankful for your lovely presentation and for all the explanations you have given today. Now, I would like to proceed further and would like to call upon our chapter chairperson, CA Nilab Bhatt, to take the proceeding further. Thank you.
Good evening, dear chapter members, overseas leaders, and from wherever you are watching this 7th International Conference themed on resilience and reinvention. Thank you very much, dear Rakesh. Friends, now we have an important segment, one of its kind. And since 2013, we have been awarding an exemplary chartered accountant, an award in the name of our founder chairman. So to begin this proceeding, can I request to play the video message from our founder chairman from Mumbai, CA Dilip Thakkar sir.
My hearty congratulations to Chairperson CA Nilab Bhatt and Executive Committee members, not only for successfully hosting this 7th International Conference, but also for round-the-year excellent contribution in conducting numerous professional events with highly prominent speakers, including some of the past chairpersons of our Doha chapter. This year in Qatar, we witnessed a very important event, that of our parent institute ICAI signing MOU with Qatar Financial Center Authority, enhancing both Indo-Qatar relations and Doha chapter reputation. For this achievement, high accolades are due to past and present chairpersons, CA Ruqayya Pachisa, CA Sandeep Chaudhary, and CA Nilab Bhatt for their untiring efforts spanning over more than 2 years to make this happen. Other milestones include conducting a successful startup summit and certificate course in detection and investigation of financial frauds. My profound appreciation and sincere thanks to the current and past members of the Professional Achiever Award Committee for their exemplary selection of award winners over the years. I am really so happy to note that all the past award winners continue to inspire and motivate chapter members by making exceptional contribution to profession, industry, and the community at large. My best wishes to Doha chapter and its members to continue their excellent performance in years to come. Thank you.
Great to hear words of wisdom from the founder chairman, sir. And now to take the proceeding forward, on behalf of this year CA Dilip Thakkar Award Committee, we have, on behalf of the committee chair, we have CA Ravi Shankar, our past chairperson and a prolific orator, to take the proceeding forward. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you, Nirlap. Now for the session that we all as chapter members are waiting for. This is the CA Dilip Thakkar CA Professional Achievers Award presentation. I'm hosting this on behalf of the 2021 Awards Committee. Success, they say, is not what you achieve in your life, but what you inspire others to do. That in quintessence is the legacy created through this award, which is instituted by our founder chairman of the Doha chapter, CA Dilip Thakkar. Creating a legacy is an act of faith. After all, you don't know how it's going to turn out to be. But carrying on the legacy is a job of extreme challenge and responsibility. ICAI Doha chapter takes it very seriously and endeavors to carry on this legacy in the best possible manner that upholds its values.
Let me just quickly tell you the purpose of this award. It is to recognize an Indian chartered accountant residing in the state of Qatar for his or her exceptional contribution to accounting and finance profession, to the industry, to the organization, and to the community at large. The purpose is to encourage, to motivate the Doha chapter members to work, contribute, excel, and aspire to become exemplary achievers. What is the eligibility for this award? Who are eligible for this award? He or she should be a member of good standing of the Doha chapter and also of the CA headquarters. Resident in Qatar for a minimum period of 5 years. He or she can be nominated by the executive committee. He or she could self-nominate or could be nominated by a member after taking the acceptance of the nominee. The member should be residing in Doha at the time the application of the award is made. There are several criteria that we have to go through before we determine the winner. And the criteria for selecting the awardee are: first, professional accomplishments, internal as well as external. 2, leadership roles, professional, industry, community, and global. 3rd, support for the CA profession and the fellow members of the ICII Doha. 4th, innovations, ethical standing, technology, and best practices that are shared. 5th, contributions to the industry, community, and global. The 2021 award committee consisted of CA George Thomas, the chairman. The other members were CA Ravi Shankar, CA Hatim Hussain, CA Gaurav Kakar, and CA Nirlab Bhatt, the incumbent chairman. Now, for the moment we are all waiting for, who is the recipient this year? A question that we all are grappling with. At this point, let me just break into and share with you a couplet in Hindi or Urdu and an Arabic proverb. जुमला यूं है कि मंजिल उन्हीं को मिलती है जिनके सपनों में जान होती है। मंजिल उन्हीं को मिलती है जिनके सपनों में जान होती है। पंख से कुछ नहीं होता, हौसलों से उड़ान होती है। Therefore, it is the courage and the determination that determines the winner. There is an Arabic proverb which goes as follows: Miftahu kullu sha'in huwa al-azm. Mift in Arabic means key. The key to everything is determination. और ये जुमला और ये Arabic proverb आज के हमारे विजेता पर बखूबी बहुत खरे उतरते हैं. This year's winner's profile reads as follows: a law graduate, a CPA, a CIA from USA, and obviously a chartered accountant. With over 25 years of experience in the finance field, a wonderful contributor to the CA profession, a great support for the Doha chapter and its members, a capable leader, past chairman of the Doha chapter of ICAI, current board member of the local IIA chapter, exemplary commitment to community service, a guest speaker and a panelist in various forums and workshops, contributes regularly to professional publications, a distinguished Toastmaster, a committed family man, hailing from Delhi and living in Doha for the last 23 years, married with 2 lovely children. He is currently the CFO of an energy solutions company, a newly minted author of the best-selling book on communication. Did you guess who it is? The last point on the profile probably let the cat out of the bag. On behalf of the committee, I'm extremely pleased, privileged, and honored to present the 7th CA Dilip Thakkar Professional Achievers Award 2021 to, guess who? CA Girish Jain. Congratulations, Girish. Well done. Well done. Thank you. Thank you. And may this award inspire our chapter members to strive for excellence. Thank you.
This is the center. Can we have this? Can we have the
Thanks a lot, dear Ravi, for your flattering words. You made me feel like a celebrity, but I'm not yet. Chairman of Doha chapter, CA Nirlab Bhatt, Executive Committee members, Managing Director of Man Energy Solutions, Mr. Oscar Martinez, CA Dilip Thakkar Sahab, dignitaries, members, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a dream come true. I feel blessed and honored to be on this dais to receive this coveted award. Hats off to our founding chairman, Thakkar Sahab, for his initiative. And my sincere thanks to the award committee and ICI Doha chapter for selecting me and acknowledging my hard work. Though I don't look that old, but it's been over 25 glorious years since I passed my CA, along with nearly 23 years of close association with Doha chapter. Our chapter is like a big family, and I have always been there to serve as a proud family member and will remain so. I did my best to serve any role or responsibility I undertook, be it chairman of Doha chapter twice, honorary head of finance of ICC and ICBF, various leadership positions in Toastmasters, member of board of governors of IIA or community services, be it authoring a book, delivering educational and motivational workshops or trainings. The list goes on. I did that with utmost sincerity, passion, hard work, and dedication without expecting any reward. And this is one message I like to pass on to the younger generation. When you join any professional or community organization and add the expectation of a reward, your efforts become biased. Your thoughts become selfish. So whatever you do, do it from your heart and do it with passion. At this juncture, I wish to sincerely thank and acknowledge all those individuals who brought a difference in my life and taught me something worthwhile. I could achieve success just because these individuals trusted me and had faith in my capabilities. This includes my previous employers, Qatar Shipping Company and Qatar Gas, my current employer, Man Energy Solutions, and all my co-workers with whom I could build an excellent rapport. I'd like to also thank a few of those who rejected me, because that taught me how to become acceptable, how to become resilient and move forward much stronger with a positive mindset. Thanks to some of those who did not repose confidence in me, because that made me learn new skills to make me knowledgeable, reliable, and credible. It was rare, but I should mention, thanks to those who betrayed me, because then I learned differentiating between friends and foes. My very special thanks to all those who inspired me, motivated me so that I could also inspire and motivate others in return. I thank God Almighty for making me capable of earning this coveted award, and that reinstated my belief as a person who stood up to the challenge of helping the community and serving selflessly. When I found little extra time last year during COVID, I started writing many interesting real-life incidents and lessons learned. This fulfilled my distant dream of becoming an author. Glad to see my first book becoming a bestseller on Amazon come September next year, and hopefully you will see my second book on the shelf. They say the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And for me, that single step was after my graduation, when I decided to pursue CA course. Here I go down memory lane on 12th December 1998, when I landed in Qatar for the very first time. That day, I never thought this day would continue until this long and still counting. Time certainly flies. My sincere gratitude to the CFO of Qatar Shipping Company, Mr. Brish Singhal, a thorough gentleman who hired me from India. I always regarded him next to my father, and he was the one who encouraged me to join Doha chapter. I joined, and there I met this amazing personality, CA Rajeshwar Sundaresan, who became my mentor, my guide, my guru, and a great family friend. Rajeshwar, you have a special place in my heart, and I'm sure you would have that too. I also like to thank another brilliant personalities here, Gopal Balasubramaniam, who gave a wonderful wedding gift by inducting me into the chapter XCOM of the year 2000, and rest is history. I admire and thank all the leaders and members of our chapter for extending their love, guidance, and support to me. When you realize that people trust you, your responsibility multiplies many folds. You get an extra burden to make sure that trust is not broken. And for that, you may have to sacrifice, not once, but many times. I feel I sacrificed a lot and could not give enough quality time to my family. Here I like to sincerely thank a very special person who has always stood by me for the last 2 decades, my lovely wife, Nisha. Thank you, Nisha, for being a true friend and a perfect life partner. Thanks for always being there to energize me and support all my efforts, including some crazy ideas. And most importantly, for taking care of our kids in my absence. Big thanks and hugs to my amazing kids, Anushka and Aditya, for their unconditional love. I dedicate this award to these 3 pillars of strength of my life. Nisha, Anushka, Aditya, I love you all. How can I forget to thank my beloved mother, Sushila Jain, and my late father, KK Jain, for their countless blessings, and other family members, friends, and well-wishers for their remarkable support. I also like to advise that if you are involved in any professional or cultural forum, make sure your employer is on board and your office work is not compromised. You need to keep both completely separate. Only then you can do justice to both. Also make sure that your honesty and integrity is intact. Before I conclude, I would be failing in my duties if I did not thank our CA Institute. Whatever I am today is because of this CA degree. I like to quote this motto of our institute, Ya Yeshu Sapteshu Jagrati in Sanskrit, from the Upanishads. It means one who is conscious, awake, and active in those who are sleeping. Let us always awake, agile, active, and accomplished big. Many thanks for patiently listening to me, and thank you one and all. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, CA Girish, once again.
The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is one of the largest accounting bodies of the world. Established in 1981, Doha chapter of the ICAI is oldest amongst its 44 overseas chapters and is the first professional membership body to be registered with the Qatar Financial Center. DCICAI is pleased to conduct 7th International Conference, Resilience and Reinvention, on 28 and 29 October 2021. The conference will be attended by over 250 professionals across the globe and will be seeing intriguing, insightful, and inspiring deliberations during the technical sessions and panel discussion to be conducted by a galaxy of speakers composed of corporate honchos, business leaders, and esteemed personalities. DCICAI Management Committee is grateful to its sponsors for the support. VIP sponsors: Aster Medical Center, Morrison Menon Chartered Accountants and Partners, Oracle, Protivity, annual silver sponsors: Creston SVP Chartered Accountants. Digital partner AGP World 1. Event sponsors: Al Masjid Group, Al Muftaha Group, Alok K. Saxena Auditing and Accounting, Apparel Qatar, Deloitte and Touche, Elegancia Healthcare, Gulfar Al Misnad, KPMG, MAN Energy Solutions, MS Partner, Parker Russell Qatar, Petrotech, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Qatar Design Consortium, Quantum Global Solution, ZAD Holdings, 360 TF.
We are back. Thank you, members, for being patient, and apologies for the technical glitch. Yesterday evening, approximately around this time, we started with an air of excitement and a tinge of nervousness. And dekhte dekhte, we have come to the last and concluding session of this international conference. But as we always do, we have saved our best for the last. And today it's a privilege for me to introduce our next prolific speaker. I first saw him in the year 2006 in the movie. Which movie? Pyar Ke Side Effects. And his acting versatility was quite impressive. Though I must confess, I had gone to the movie for Malika Sherawat. Over the years, he has portrayed some iconic characters in path-breaking movies, such an extent that the Time magazine has called him the Indian art house icon. He is not only an award-winning actor, but he has directed some award-winning movies too. He is someone who does not mince his words, is free to express his opinion, and he has delivered leadership lectures at Yale, Harvard, MIT, Oxford, Cambridge on cinema gender justice, and leadership. He is also a social activist. He has founded 2 NGOs which are working in the areas of education and preventing child sexual abuse. But the icing on the cake, he is the face of Indian rugby. He has represented India in 17 international matches. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll not hold you more. Please, with a virtual round of applause, welcome the multifaceted personality, the actor, director, screenwriter, social activist, and the rugby player, the one and only Rahul Bose.
Thank you so much. I first would like to thank everybody at ICAI Doha for reaching out across the ocean to have me chat at your conference. It's always a pleasure, and it's always slightly unbelievable when people ask me to speak. And when I was discussing with the entire team at ICAI Doha about what I should talk about, since I have 5 or 6 lecture modules, I think what everybody gravitated towards was leadership for obvious reasons. There are many requirements of leadership from the kinds of fields that all of you are in, and the leadership that I have experienced, both as a director, a producer, and an actor, are lessons that I have learned firsthand. But as I have begun to build my leadership lectures across the world, I've realized that a lot of these lessons have resonated with people, whether it's the top management at Nike, whether it is a host of bright students at MIT. It kind of crosses boundaries effortlessly in terms of the lessons I've learned, because somewhere in those lessons is a universality that can be implemented in almost every field. So when I was talking to the wonderful team at ICAI Doha, all of us said, let's talk about leadership lessons learned through cinema. And apart from the fulsome and slightly embarrassing introduction, I just like to state that I have produced a movie called Purna, which is the story of the youngest girl in history to climb Mount Everest. She was 13 years when she climbed Mount Everest, and she's an Adivasi from Telangana. I made Purna 5 years ago in 2016. I released it 4 years ago in 2017. And I produced that film, and it was a very difficult film to produce. It had no stars, and we didn't want to flinch on the budget. The film can be watched on Amazon Prime. I'm not plugging the film, just to tell you, if you watch it, you'll understand that to spend 7.5 crores on a film like that with absolutely no known face in it. I'm in it, but I have a supporting role. And, the box office is not going to ring because of me. It's going to be because of the story. As a producer, the lessons I learned there and the lesson that I have implemented in other projects, smaller projects after that. As a director, I directed a film called Everybody Says I'm Fine that got me a couple of awards as a debut feature film internationally. I learned a lot of things which I had observed other directors doing and not doing, and I just cohered a few lessons that I wanted to imbibe and be that kind of director. And then I made a film, Purna, of course, 16 years later. I shot Everybody Says I'm Fine in 2000, 2016, 2015 we shot Purna. So by then I had changed a lot as a human being, evolved hopefully, and also evolved my directorial style, my leadership style. So I want to talk about that a little bit. And finally, as an actor, it might seem not so believable that an actor can lead a set. But if you're the lead actor of a film, especially of a low budget film, everybody looks to you to set the tone, to actually create the sense of professionalism, of urgency, of perfectionism, whatever you call it. It's up to you, because you are the most important person on that small budget art house movie. So yes, there is a part to play as an actor, but without further ado, I'm going to jump into the lessons I've learned first as a director. And this is very interesting for all of you. So the unique and yet universal thing about directing a film, the unique part of it is that it's the easiest way to be a leader. Everybody on a movie is there like athletes at the starting line of a race, and you are the gun. You just fire the gun and they'll run. You want a jumbo jet painted blue and pink stripes, and you want 6 dancers on one wing and 4 giraffes on the other wing, and you want with computer graphics, you want the jumbo jet to fly through the rings of Saturn and come out at the Wankhede Stadium. Can be done. You just need to have the people who can do it, and they will not question your vision. That's the difference between this and any other profession, I suppose. But with great power comes great responsibility, in the words of Stan Lee. And the responsibility here is that, therefore, it follows that if you don't see the scene in your head, all these people at the starting line are going to be wondering when to start and where to go. So, to envisage the scenario of success, exactly what it's going to look like, where you're going to be, what the smells are going to be like, what kind of sounds do you hear, who's in the room, what is the chatter about, what is the energy around you. At that final moment of success, which say for a director could be, I'm at the Cannes Film Festival getting the Best Director Award or whatever it is. But if you don't envisage that end, it's never going to happen in cinema. And I'll explain in which way. If you don't know what the scene is about, I don't know, maybe we can have a jumbo jet, or maybe we can have a small mobile phone. Hello, do you want a jumbo jet? Do you want a mobile phone? Let me illustrate with an example. I go to my director of photography. So in a film, there are 5 or 6 big departments. There's the director of photography, who's the cameraman. There's a production designer who makes the sets, who makes the house, who makes the stadium, whatever it might be. There's the costume designer who decides what costumes people wear. There is the sound designer who is responsible for all the sound you hear in a movie. And finally, there's the editor. So let's talk about the department heads who are on set with you, not the editor. Sometimes the editor's on set, but not necessary. So I go to my director of photography, my cameraman, and he says, okay, we are filming the chess match tomorrow. The chess match between 2 grandmasters is being filmed tomorrow. How do you see it? And all I say to my director of photography is, I see it like 2 Japanese warriors in the old days, the samurai. I see it like 2 samurai fighting at dawn. The cameraman has asked me, what do you see the scene to be? And I have not said, he's sitting here, he's sitting there, they're there, nothing. I've just said, I see the scene to be like 2 Japanese samurai fighting at dawn. And the DOP turns to me and says, okay. Obviously, they're in a room. I say, yeah. He says, okay, can we have the room at a height? I mean, not at ground level. Or can we have it on a hill? Can we make believe that there's a valley outside? I said, sure, we can. Okay, then can we have the 2 grandmasters sitting, and the backdrop is a massive glass. The wall is glass and the valley below. I said, yes, possible. We can do that in CG or we can do that real. And can I send smoke up from the valley? Lots and lots of loban, lots of smoke machines, so that it looks like a foggy, misty, early morning feeling? Yes, you can. And then I will throw light, he says, from inside the room, low down, against the grandmasters, so their shadows against the smoke that's at the back of the glass wall is massive. So each time they make a move to move a piece, it looks bigger, larger than life. I said, that's great, that sounds great. And then the production designer gets very excited. So she says, hang on, if the feel is Japanese and dawn and these big shadows, I see the whole set to be black. Black polished wood, black chairs on which in fact, no, Rahul, let's not have them sit on chairs. Let's have them sit, as kids we say, na, alti palti, cross-legged. Let's have them sit on the floor, on the black polished wooden floor. They're sitting, back erect, and on a slight black mounted platform, there is the chessboard in black and white. So everything is black, and below the glass, on the sides and below, we can have dark brown wood. And I am thinking a splash of white is required to echo the whites of the 64 squares on the chessboard. So I'm going to have a lily, 2 or 3 long lilies in one corner of the room. 2 of them white and 1 red. The red one like a drop of blood. And these 2 men. And then the sound designer says, I'm getting excited. We can't have sound. It's not allowed in a room like this. So let's just have the sound of their breathing. And an intake of breath when the move is good. Or let's have the sound of the heartbeat. Or when a move has to be made and time is running out. Or maybe the clock, the timer. And can you guys now feel the scene? These 2 men sitting like yogis almost, playing this sport. Shadows being thrown against the fog coming up the valley. A sense of cold somewhere. Maybe a breeze. These flowers swaying slightly, these long lilies. The sound of breath and heartbeat. And all I said was that I would like to see the scene like 2 Japanese samurai fighting at dawn. And everybody understands where to go. So this brings me to my second lesson, which I learned as a director. And that is, in all your lives as leaders, in all your lives as leaders of businesses or family-run businesses or whatever it might be, you have people who are very, very good at what they do. They might not be great leaders. But once you point them in the direction, once you say 2 Japanese samurai fighting at dawn, then the DOP suddenly gets all the ideas, and the production designer and the sound designer and the costume designer. So the thing I learned was that you only have to give a really thoroughbred horse a bit of a urge, a bit of a letting of the reins, and then they run with it. Let them. That is another sample of leadership I learned, where if you let them run after the slightest portrayal of your vision, then what happens later on is they own the product as fiercely as you do. I'll give you an example. When I was making Everybody Said I'm Fine, on the very first day on my set, I called everybody, including the spot boys who serve tea, the set decorators, the lighting boys who are up on the tarafas, who are, who spend all the time indoor sets up there, everybody. And I said, look, I only know what I see in my head. I can't run the camera. I don't understand production design. I don't know anything about costumes. In fact, I don't even know how to make tea. I don't know how to make tea. I don't know how to make coffee. So if you guys and girls, men and women, if you don't do your jobs, I won't even know कि चाय खराब है, कि कॉफी में चीनी कम है, कि DOP ने lighting कम किया है. I will not know if you are cutting corners at your job. Only you know. So I can't make this film without you doing your best. All I can say is I will do my best. And if I run out of ideas, I will come to you. But I just hope and pray, and I wish all of you will do me the favor of just doing your best on the film. Film got over, 6 months passed. Un dinon mein there was no OTT. The film came out on pirated videos after 5-6 months or whatever it is. And I got a call one day on my mobile phone, unrecognizable number. And I said, "Ye kaun hai? Pata nahi." And I picked up the phone and, hello, Rahul sir. I said, "Yes." "Main Raju bol raha hu." I said, "Raju?" "Raju, Lightman." Now, like Rahul, Raju is a fairly common name. Now I was thinking, Raju Lightman. And then I thought, oh yeah, there was this one Lightman who, who was always greeted you warmly and talked a little bit, unlike most light guys who normally do their work and don't say anything. So I said, "Ha, Raju, bolo." He said, "Maine abhi a picture dekha." I said, "Everybody says I'm fine." He said, "Ha, main, sorry sir, main to cable mein dekha, apna pados mein aa raha to main dekha." I said, "Okay, kaisa laga?" And he sat and he critiqued this film with me for 20-25 minutes. हाँ, आपका ये यहाँ पे तो थोड़ा सा आप फिसल गए डायरेक्शन में, अच्छा इतना अच्छा नहीं था, लेकिन वहां पे आपने अच्छा काम किया. और I was like, but you have to understand that Raju owned the film. Raju was told without him the film can't be made. And so Raju felt it very well within his rights to talk about the film as if it was his. And there cannot be a more touching lesson of leadership for me than what I felt thanks to Raju. And finally, the last lesson from direction, which of course you've heard already in the last, I just mentioned it, was that if you run out of ideas, if you can't see it, if that Japanese samurai moment is not happening, tell your team. I have never seen anybody not willing to step in with ideas, whether they're good or bad. If you just be honest and say, guys, you know what, I can't, मुझे कुछ आज समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, वो creative block सा हो रहा है, please, if any of you can help me, anybody has any ideas. And you know what, even from absurd ideas, finally something good emerges. You know, sometimes your grandfather will say something, you're like, Dada, what are you saying? And a little while later, you're like, hang on. If I take it that way, then it's possible. There is a solution. So these were the lessons that I gleaned from as a director. Many more, but these are the three most important ones. Now, as a producer, first, I mean, you've got the idea of how to be how do I say it? As a producer, this is going to sound a little bit controversial. I would much rather not take the persons who are best in their field. I would much rather take persons who are even second best in their field, but who will gel as a team. Because if you have a brilliant director who doesn't have people management skills, or you have a fantastic lead actor who is renowned for destroying the morale on a set, you're in trouble. As a good producer, you can make a terrific actor who's number 2 do a brilliant job and win the award for that year. As a producer, you can choose the second best director in the world and build her or his morale up so they become the best for that year. But as a producer, as a human being, nobody can change the essence of the personality of a human being. If a human being is essentially selfish, you're stuck. If a human being is essentially a glamour individualist, you're stuck. If a human being essentially doesn't respect other human beings as much as he or she respects themselves, then you're stuck. So I would much rather take somebody who's at number 2, who I can build, push, inspire to be number 1, than take number 1s who will destroy and bring the whole unit down to number 10. So it's a very, very important lesson I've learned in teams, which is you feel really good when you've hired the best coach for your cricket team. But if that coach doesn't fit with your team, and we've seen this happening across the world in sport, you're stuck. The best coach and the best player sometimes just cannot understand each other. That's the first lesson. The second lesson is about money. Yeah, it's about money. Look, you produce a film finally to make sure that once the film is done, you make money. Or you might produce a film to say, I don't want to lose money, but I want to win lots of awards. The fact is, nobody wants to lose money. at the very minimum. Time is money. On a film, in any business, as you know, time is money. And on a film, where you're spending 15 lakhs a day on a set or on paying for outdoor shooting, it's 15 lakhs a day divided by 10 hours of shooting, not counting the breaks. So you're looking at about 1.5 lakhs or 1.8 lakhs. 1.3 lakhs or 1.4 lakhs into your shift per hour. It's, 45, 50,000, 60,000 rupees for half an hour. If you bring it down, it's running into 1,000 rupees every minute. So in situations like that, as a producer, you have to be decisive. If the director is saying, no, we are waiting, let's see if the rain stops, so ye karenge, wo karenge. No, take the call. Let's go to that set. I don't mind spending another 1 lakh of rupees to build that set tonight. Kal se wahan pe shuru karte hain, isko baad mein karte hain, jab October, November aa jaye. Filhal to September hai, pata nahi iska hoga ki nahi. To cut your losses and run. So to always be nimble and to understand that to be nimble and to be decisive at that moment, yaar, tu kya kar raha hai? You're changing the set, you're going to spend some more money, but you're spending money to save money in the long run. So I think to be decisive and to be brutal with your own plans, to reshape your own plans, in this there are many leadership lessons: to be nimble, to be decisive, to be brutal, to be honest with yourself. But I think the one I would choose most is be decisive, because time is money. The other, which is something that I learned, it's a very, very interesting and scary thing that happened to me. Scary in the sense, as a producer, we were shooting Purna, and Purna's climbing Everest, and we decided to shoot the Everest parts at the border of, near the border of India and China, in Sikkim, and at 15,000 feet in January. So 15,000 feet in January is like 21, 22, 23,000 feet, during the summer when people ascend Everest. So we were thigh deep in snow, but the weather gods never listen to you entirely. And there was too much snow. There was too much snow, there was too much ice. So every day, if I had seen 3 kilometers down the mountains, I had seen a point where I was going to shoot the final ascent, or the first ascent, or the attempted ascent. There were 2-3 different scenes. I couldn't even go to those places, because there's something called black ice that forms. So the ice forms at night over the road. And in the daytime, you can't actually drive on those roads. So you get a JCB to crack the ice and clear the way. But by the time that happens, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and in Sikkim, in 3 o'clock in the afternoon in winter, it's already dark. So I said, kya kare? Every day we would wake up in the morning, go there at 4:30, 3:34 in the morning, reach the location, too much of ice, use the JCPs. 8 hours later, the darkness is gone, but the road is clear. I said, we'll never shoot like this. So one day, and in fact, this clip is on the internet as a behind the scenes of Purna, we have reached where the ice has started on the road. And my location is at least 2 kilometers down. So already on the walkie-talkies, the assistant directors are saying, okay, pack up, going back to base, gaadi ko ghuma lo, etc. And I just stood there as a producer and said, no. Although I was directing Purna, I said, as a producer, what would I do? I would tell the director, we have to shoot. So as the director now, I looked up at one mountain. I looked up at the other mountain. There was enough snow everywhere. I'd never looked at these mountains. And I said to my first AD, I said, Alok, 1 second, hold on. We'll shoot scene 63, A, B, and C there. We'll shoot scene 128, the second half there. And that's how I just started planning it. I just began to plan it this way because I said that if I don't do it now, if I don't act and react nimbly, we're never going to get this done. So the director had to assist the producer by being extremely creative, extremely nimble, extremely thick. But the producer had to put pressure on the director to say, listen, we got to do this. This is your chance. Otherwise, we're going to go back to Bombay and we'll have to forget about the second half of this film. So that was something that I would say that as a producer, I learned that you simply have to at some points push the team out of their comfort zone, push your team out of your comfort zone, out of their comfort zone to get the result that you want. Finally, as a producer, focus on the goal. Don't, as I call it in English, don't sweat the small stuff. Iska matlab kya hai? You have made a proposal for a film. I'm going to make a love story that is going to be an international love story between a Romanian girl and an Indian boy. This love story will take place on the playing field where one plays, they meet at the Olympics where one is playing hockey for Romania and the other is wrestling for India. And it's going to have sport, it's going to have love, it's going to have thrills, it's going to have, God knows, elopement. And my audience is going to be international. It's not going to be only the Indian audience. It's going to be an international audience that loves a crossover love story. It's going to be sport-loving audience that's going to love a thrilling with some love in it, romance. Is it a sporting romantic film? Is it a romantic sporting film? It doesn't matter. But I would like to attract both kinds of audiences. And it's going to obviously be an international release because it's an international story. Okay. Now, as you're making the film, you have conceived of this film with a certain class of it being an international film. And there are moments, many moments will come when you say, yaar, is sequence mein na, hum Dubai nahi jate hain, is sequence mein hum Bombay Harbor mein karte hain. Yaar, is sequence mein na hum Switzerland nahi jate hain, aise karte hain ki hum Mahabaleshwar mein kar lete hain, uske baad CG pe snow dal dete hain. These are the things that will show. You will not be able to fool anybody in the long run. These are the things that will prevent your film from being international. These are the things that will prevent your profit projections that you were thinking of in dollars from being what they will. It's all of these things. It's all of these things that you just can't. You can't let go your original dream because it's finally going to affect your bottom line. You stick to that original dream, stick to those proposals, stick to those bottom lines, stick to those financial projections, stick to the quality is what I'm saying. And automatically you will not need to worry about, oh, will I reach that market or not? So if it means while you're in the pursuit of that, you have to inflate a little bit, make a few changes and increase the budget a little bit, I would say consider that. Because not doing it, if it harms the final marketing potential of your product, that would be shooting yourself in the foot. That would be penny wise and pound foolish. And finally, I'm going to get to some lessons that I've learned in leadership as an actor on a set. So as I said, as an actor, you would imagine that it would not be that relevant to be a leader on a set. But as I said, on a smaller film where you're maybe the box office draw, where it's your reputation, all of that matters. I find that, and this is a universal, I'm going to make it universal in terms of a lesson, is coming to into a project with the right energy. What energy does this project need? This project doesn't need, go, 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 everybody, come on, kill everybody, let's get there, let's get there. No, this project needs, let's all of us close our eyes, meditate, and move slowly but surely towards this goal. ये race बहुत लंबा है. We don't want to burn ourselves out. We're going to go cautiously, we're going to go steadily, we're going to go strongly, and we're going to go smoothly to the end. That could be the rhythm. In others, it could be, okay, as I said, this is the bang, 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 we got to go, we got to go, we got to go. Whatever it is, decide what that project needs in terms of energy and epitomize it. You have to be the personification of the energy that you want your entire team to feel. So as an actor, when I get onto a set with a particular kind of energy, let's say the energy has to be laughing and joking and just creating warmth, right? That's the need of the hour. Then that's the game that you play. That's the role that you assume. And so this is what I'm going to be doing because this is needed for this project. The second lesson is, and I think this is it holds true for all of us. Set the bar really high. Set the bar really high for yourself. And when people see you asking for the 5th take or the 6th take, when people see you saying, look, the embroidery on this kurta collar is not exactly uniform. Kahin pe phata hai or kuch bhi hai. When they see you do those things, and I'm not saying that you're unnecessarily doing it, but they know it'll make a difference. When the tika is not quite right, depending on what the religious denomination is or whatever. You see my point. When they see the actor becoming so invested and passionate about the scene and the project, automatically you will find everybody else starts to raise their game. You don't mean to lead by example, but you do. And everybody's watching. So I think that's something very, very important. Even how you rest in between shots. Do you sit on the set? Do you gossip? Do you go back to your van and just chill out there? Do you try to be excessively friendly with your co-stars? Do you try and be very, very, close to your director so that you're hoping that he'll give you a close-up or whatever? People are watching. People are watching. And so it becomes very, very important for you to keep the bar very, very high. And finally, as an actor, as a person, as a leader, institute world-class processes for yourself. I keep telling all the teams that I lead 2 NGOs. I've led rugby teams in the past. I'm on the board of Indian Rugby Federation, so I have a lot of leadership duties there. And I obviously have directed 2 films as an actor. And I keep telling people, it doesn't cost money to institute a world-class process. It takes time and intelligence and imagination and empathy, but it doesn't take money. So there is no excuse why you can't institute a world-class process in how you approach your craft, how you approach that venture. And so I'm just saying, the process that I use as an actor starts from the very, very day -40, when I meet the director 40 days before the shoot, and I have created a biography of the character from the script and my imagination from the age of 0 to the age of 42, 43, whatever the age the character is. And the directors looked at me and said, "You've done all of this?" I said, "Yeah, I've created this character with all the milestones you've given me in the script. I have just joined the dots. अब आप बताइए कहाँ पे गलत है, कहाँ पे सही है, और कुछ डाल सकते हैं. I believe he was an only child. I believe that he was closer to his mother. I believe he was vegetarian. Falana dhimka." And automatically the director says, "Okay, I'm dealing with a guy who's doing something innovative, but it is really helping his conceptualization of the character, and it's helping me because now the character's become a real life person, not just somebody on the script." So when you institute those world-class processes, I think that automatically everybody else, again, to echo what I had said in point number 2, everybody else begins to raise their game. And so it's these things that actually finally impact the quality level of a product at the end. And it's those quality levels that I think all of us are interested in, much more than just the nitty or the gritties. So yeah, I think pretty much this is where I will stop. Director, producer, and actor. And I think to summarize the whole thing, I would say it is ultimately about getting the best out of your people. I started saying this with the samurai, the 2 Japanese samurai grandmasters, and I'm ending it saying that institute world-class processes. But finally, I think leadership is about inspiring people to be the best version of themselves. And whether it's ethically, morally, or whether it's professionally in their expertise, fields of expertise. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much the headlines of everything I've learned. I've learned much more than this as somebody in cinema. I think now I'm very happy to take questions or comments. They don't have to be only from cinema, about my life in cinema. It can be about questions on rugby and what's happening with Indian rugby today, or how it felt like to be playing for India for 11 years, or it can be what are my two NGOs doing, and it can be anything. Please, you can even ask me how it was working with Malika Sherawat.
Indeed, sir. Indeed, sir. Thank you very much. That was one of the questions, but I was feeling embarrassed to ask, but I'll leave upon you if you would like to answer that. Thank you very much for those wonderful insights. And like you said at the end, leadership is all about inspiring. And I sincerely do feel what you have given insights today on your various facets or your roles in cinema as an actor, producer, director. There is something to take home for all of us and imbibe our day-to-day lives. Thank you very much, sir, for that. I do have a couple of questions for you.
Please.
One of the questions that has been asked is, people are generally satisfied with one accomplishment in life. You have graduated one after another, accomplishing so many things, from a rugby player to an actor, director, producer, social activist. What keeps you motivated, sir? What is your motivational secret?
I think people should only do as their heart desires. There is no disgrace in doing one thing really well all your life. Absolutely no disgrace. I mean, Albert Einstein. But if your heart desires to go in other directions too, then you should not ignore the call of your heart. What keeps me motivated is precisely that. When your life is full of things that you love, you don't need motivation from outside. We'll give you this much money to act in this film. Sometimes I even wonder why they pay me at all, because I love it so much. Don't tell anybody I said that, because otherwise then this is the end of my career, at least financially. Or sometimes I mean, what I do for Indian rugby, nobody pays, it's an honorary position. But when you love to do something, that's all you have to be connected to. Really, what do I love? Am I doing this because I'm going to get famous? Am I doing this because I'm going to get wealthy? Or am I doing this because I'm going to get powerful? These are the three major drivers of human achievement: fame, wealth, and power. Or am I doing this because I actually love it? And I would do this for the rest of my life, even if you didn't pay me. And if you can do that, then what else? What other motivations do you really need? It's like giving a child chocolate mousse, chocolate cake, and chocolate ice cream. And you're just, you don't need to tell anybody, about, the need to do this. You don't need to motivate anyone. So that's really the secret. I only do what I love. There is no Karela or Palak in my life.
Very well said, sir. We all should do what we love. I hope we all can imbibe that. And a follow-up to this question was like, then how do you deal with the benchmarks that you have set when you have accomplished something and you have become successful? And then when you go for a new venture, when you're not sure whether you will be successful, but you already have a baggage with you, a tag with you. So how do you deal with that scenario? If, say, you are unsuccessful or something, as a celebrity, how do you deal with that, sir?
How much importance do you give to other people's opinions of you is the answer. If you give a lot of importance to what people think of you, you're in trouble. Personally, I really care about probably the opinion of about 15 people in this world, 3, 4 in my family, and the rest, 3, 4 close friends, and the rest, my peers in the industry, maybe. But finally, you have to answer to yourself. You have to answer to the dreams that you had before that project. If you respect and like yourself as a human being, and look at the profession I'm in. At least you guys are in professions where people will say, this company has functioned so well, or this particular person has done such a great job for this company and made them money, or etc. In ours, it's so subjective. Somebody says, Purna is a great film. Somebody says, theek tha. It will really shake you if you start listening to everybody. So maybe that's where I've learned to keep it down to a very slim amount of people. Otherwise, we'll go crazy with all the rainbow of opinions we get for our work. So enjoy the past for its success, hold on to the lessons that helped you to make that a success, but don't take this next venture for granted. Don't be complacent. Between complacency and too much of ambition, I think somewhere in the middle is where that golden mean lies.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I do know whom not to listen from here on. I'll make my choices. Thank you very much, sir. It would have been a privilege for me to ask you multiple questions more, but we have overshot our allotted time of the entire event, not your event. In the benefit of respect to all members who are attending here, I would like to again thank you for attending this event, acceding to our request, and hopefully someday when this pandemic and all is over, we would like to invite you personally to come to Doha and address our gathering. It has been a privilege interacting with you, and thank you once again, sir, for this.
Thank you very much. The privilege is entirely mine. Thank you.
With this, members, we have come to the concluding part of our event, and I would like to invite on stage our Vice Chair, Ankit Agarwal, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, CA Kamlesh, for such lovely and warm introduction. Before moving towards the closing ceremony for the 7th International Conference of Doha chapter of ICI, we want to take the last raffle draw for the evening. Let's see who is the last lucky winner for tonight. Can someone from the media team spin the wheel? Congratulations, Narayan Natarajan. CA Narayan Natarajan, you are the lucky winner for tonight. Being thankful and expressing your gratitude is an important part of being happy in life. Gratitude will never go out of style. No matter how old or young, everyone loves to be feel appreciated with a personalized thank you wish. First of all, I would like to give my utmost sincere thanks to our guest of honor, CA Nihar Jambusaria sir, ICI President 2021-22, and Mr. Kuljit Singh Arora, Second Secretary, Information, Culture and Education, Embassy of India to the State of Qatar. Now I would like to give my sincere gratitude to all the renowned, highly intellectual speakers, renowned panelists, and knowledgeable moderator for the panel discussion. This event would not be possible without the financial support from the sponsors. So I would like to personally and give my sincere and gratitude thank to each and every sponsors who have supported us throughout the event. I would like to give my thanks to entire committee members, subcommittee members, and people joining around the globe who have made the conference successful with their active participation. I would like to give my sincere thanks to AGP Digital World and Anish Grid and their team, who were the backbone for the technical and digital area to ensure that conference goes well without any technical glitches. I would like to congratulate once again CA Girish Jain, winner of Dilip Thikkar Award for 2021. Last but not the least, my special, sincere and utmost thanks to the person who is the leader behind this conference. He is a person who always believes thinking out of the box and to deliver something very creative to the audience. He is a person who takes the whole team together and passes knowledge and wisdom of word to the entire team. He is none other than our very own innovative, creative, charming, and ever-smiling chapter chairperson, CA Nirlab Bhatt. Without him, this event would not be possible. Can we have a virtual round of applause for his hard work? There were a lot of knowledgeable, motivational, and inspiring takeaways in this 2 days Power Pack conference hosted by Doha chapter of ICI. And I hope you all have enjoyed the conference thoroughly. जिंदगी में इतनी शिद्दत के साथ अपने किरदार को निभाओ कि पर्दे गिरने के बाद भी तालियां बजती रहे. With this, I want to conclude the 2 days international conference of Doha chapter of ICI. Thank you so much, everyone. Stay happy, stay blessed, and thank you once again.
We serve the everyday user who wants to just capture those special moments on camera, all the way through to scientific discoveries. Western Digital designs, manufactures, and sells data storage solutions, bringing 3 Fortune 500 size companies together. We needed a next generation solution. We did an inventory and there were 2,000 plus applications across these 3 companies. We wanted a streamlined process. We wanted something end-to-end from the point you capture the data to the point you want to report out the data. Being able to leverage out of the box was another key factor for us. Once we chose Oracle ERP Cloud, then the Oracle suite made sense as well. Initially, when we developed our solution, there was an 8.5-hour refresh time for our data warehouse. And we were able to get that refresh time down to 20 minutes. So we have operational reporting that's real time, and then we have analytical reporting, which is available within 20 minutes, which is unheard of. No one can refresh their company data warehouse for a company this size in 20 minutes, and we can do it. We were able to cut down from 15,000 plus cost centers down to around 3,000 cost centers. So if we can use machine learning and AI to be able to take all that work out for people, then they can actually be financial analysts who do financial forecasts instead of data consolidators. We love innovation, we love new technology, we love the cloud, and it just felt natural for us to move forward with Oracle.
At Protiviti, we ensure your business is future ready as we collaborate to solve problems with innovation at its heart. Your trusted advisors for business and technology consulting, internal audit, data, and digital transformation. We are global and truly independent, delivering confidence in a dynamic world. That's Protivity.
In order to be what we are, we have to come out of what we are not. Stillness and quietness. To see the beauty of what was in front of me.
At KPMG, we are driven by our purpose and focus on quality to inspire confidence, empower change, and make positive contributions to our clients, the economy, our staff, and society. We are a member of the global KPMG network, which spans 146 countries and employs over 226,000 professionals. This allows more than 350 staff to leverage international experience and industry-leading practices to deliver tailored services to our Qatar clients. We made a lasting impact in Qatar with our audit, advisory, and tax services. Let us do the same for you.
MS Partner. Audit and Assurance Services. Corporate and International Tax Services. Financial Advisory Services. Accounting Advisory Services. IT and Risk Management Services. Get in touch with us, MS Partner.
As we emerge from the impact of the pandemic and we enter a new phase of transformation, organizations need to change faster and more thoroughly than ever before in a region facing profound challenges and tremendous opportunities.
PwC as a community of solvers is uniquely positioned to bring the right combination of people, capabilities, and technology.
That's what we're calling the New Equation, our new network-wide strategy.
The new equation focuses on two interconnected needs that clients face now. The first is to build trust, which has never been more important or more difficult. The second is to deliver sustained outcomes in a fast-moving environment where the risk of disruption is more intense than ever before.
It all adds up to the new equation.
It all adds up to the new equation.
It all adds up to the new equation.
Good morning, QDC.
Qatar Design Consortium. 4 decades of presence in Qatar. ISO certified consultancy firm in practice since March 1977. Current staff strength in Doha office is 500 plus professionals tied up with specialists all over the world. Successfully executed more than 3,000 projects in Qatar. Architecture, design and engineering disciplines, civil, structure, electrical, low current systems, HVAC, plumbing and drainage, sustainability, GSAS, building information, modelling and lead. Project management, construction supervision and management consultancy, environmental, energy and utility. Spacious and well equipped office space of approximately 45,000 square feet in downtown Doha. Qatar Design Consortium. Quality, diligence, commitment. Since 1977.
QFM all-purpose flour. Your perfect baking ingredient. QFM brings out the best.
Where is the time to make roti? Q-Bake Rotis. Make life easy.
Add vitamin D to your cooking with the goodness of Yara. Heart says, stay active, eat healthy, cook with Adira. Listen to your heart.
360TF is an online, robust marketplace connecting all importers, exporters, and banks on a common platform. Currently, we are having a special offer for you, where we are giving you a subscription worth $1,100 for free. 360TF is a part of the Nimai Group, and collectively we have a banking relationship with 250 plus banks and have processed transactions worth $1.9 billion. In the traditional process of getting trade finance, you can approach a limited set of banks, and after 3 to 4 weeks of labor-intensive work, there is still no guarantee that you will get a satisfying quote. 360TF enables global trade finance. It brings the world closer by connecting importers and exporters with partner banks to fulfill their LC financing requirements. By utilizing the digitized platform of 360TF, you can reach banks across the world for the best pricing. You will also have better reach, opportunities, and connections. You will gain advanced analytics through our secure and user-friendly web-based platform. Using our platform, banks can grow into untapped geographies and to new bank clients for LC-backed financing. The faster turnaround time also means that the process is more efficient and effective. At 360TF, all you have to do as a customer is come on the platform and upload your LC, and quotes will start coming to you on a real-time basis. This is possible because of our matchmaking engine, which sends a notification to all banks stating that so-and-so customer has placed an LC of this value and in this product. The banks then place their quotes and these are then ranked and shown to you. We believe that together we can move towards a digitized world with cheaper rates of financing. So why wait? Join us in the rising tide of digitization and surf with us on the top. You can just log into our platform and start saving. We will be more than happy to give you a detailed demo about the platform. You can contact any of us and we will be sure to attend to all your queries. Many thanks.